My beloved child, tonight is not like the nights that came before it. There is something unusual drawing near, something your eyes cannot yet see but your heart has already begun to sense. That quiet feeling you could not explain, that gentle stirring within you, is not an accident. I have brought you to this very moment because I have something I want you to hear. Before this night passes, I want you to remember that I have never stopped watching over you, even when you believed heaven had become silent. You have walked through days filled with questions that seemed to have no answers. You have carried burdens that few people knew existed. There were moments when you smiled in front of others while hiding the weight that rested upon your soul. You wondered if anyone truly understood the silent battles that followed you into the darkness of the night. But I understood every one of them. I was there in every tear you wiped away before anyone else could see it. I was there in every whispered prayer that barely escaped your lips. I was there when hope felt distant, holding you together with my love even when you did not realize it. That is why tonight feels different. This is not simply another evening passing by like countless others. I have prepared this moment long before you arrived here. While you were worrying about tomorrow, I was already arranging what you could not see. While fear tried to convince you that nothing would ever change, I was quietly working beyond the limits of your understanding. The things that seem delayed are not forgotten. The dreams you placed deep inside your heart have not disappeared from my sight. Every promise I have spoken still lives, even if the waiting has felt longer than you expected. Do not allow the darkness around you to persuade you that darkness has won. Night often hides what morning is preparing to reveal. Just because you cannot see the first light does not mean it is not already on its way. There are moments when my greatest works begin in silence, long before anyone notices that change has already started. I often move in ways that surprise those who have almost given up expecting anything new. Tonight may appear ordinary to the world, but I tell you that ordinary moments can become the doorway to extraordinary blessings. So stay close to me for these moments. Do not let distractions steal what I desire to place within your heart. Listen carefully, not only with your ears but with the deepest part of your spirit. I am about to remind you that your story is not ending in disappointment. What has seemed confusing will begin to make sense. What has appeared impossible will no longer remain beyond my reach. The night before you is not filled with fear but with possibility, because my presence is already surrounding you. My beloved child, if you have been searching for a sign that I am still with you, let this be the answer you have been waiting for. Lift your heart toward me and release your fear. Something unusual is indeed coming tonight, but it is not coming to destroy your peace. It is coming to awaken your hope, strengthen your faith, and remind you that I have always been closer than your next breath. My beloved child, before you take another step with me tonight, I want you to settle one truth deep within your heart. You were never alone. Not for a single moment. There may have been nights when the silence around you felt so heavy that you wondered if I had turned away. There may have been mornings when you woke with questions that had no answers, carrying a weariness that no amount of sleep could erase. You may have looked around and felt as though everyone else was moving forward while you remained standing in the same place. Yet even then, my hand never left you. I know there were moments when you searched for signs of my presence and found only stillness. You expected thunder, but I chose to speak through a whisper. You expected immediate change, but I was patiently building something stronger than what you had imagined. My silence was never my absence. It was the quiet place where my deepest work was taking root within you. Think of a child learning to walk. The child may not always feel the parent's hands, but the loving parent never stops watching. Every step, every stumble, every small victory is seen with great care. When the child falls, the parent is already reaching out before the tears begin. That is how I have watched over you, Even when you believed you were walking by yourself, my eyes never left you. Every mode of uncertainty was known to me. Every fear that tried to settle into your heart was visible before you even found words to describe it. I saw the nights when sleep would not come because your mind was filled with endless thoughts. I saw the weight of responsibilities that seemed too great for your shoulders. I saw the disappointment that followed prayers you believed had gone unanswered. I saw the relationships that wounded you, the opportunities that slipped away, and the dreams that appeared to fade into the distance. Nothing escaped my attention. The world may have overlooked your pain, but I never did. There were times when you asked, "Father, where are you?" My beloved child, I was closer than your own breath. I was giving you strength when you believed you had none left. I was protecting you from dangers you never knew existed. I was closing doors that would have led you into greater sorrow, even though at the time those closed doors felt like rejection. I was guiding your steps around obstacles that your eyes could not see. My love surrounded you in ways that were invisible, yet no less real. Sometimes you judge my faithfulness only by what you can immediately understand. But I see beyond today. I see the paths you have not yet walked, the people you have not yet met, and the blessings that are already moving toward you. If I allowed everything to happen according to your timing, you would often receive what was incomplete instead of what was fully prepared. My delays have never been punishments. They have been expressions of my wisdom and my care. Imagine a gardener tending a precious tree. Day after day, the gardener waters the roots long before anyone sees fruit growing on the branches. Those passing by may think nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, life is quietly expanding. The roots grow deeper, becoming strong enough to support the harvest that is coming. In the same way, I have been strengthening you beneath the surface. While others could only see the waiting, I could see the foundation I was building inside your heart. Do not measure your journey by comparing it with someone else's. I have written a story that is uniquely yours. The chapters of your life are unfolding according to my perfect wisdom, not according to the expectations of the world. Every lesson, every delay, every unexpected turn hath been woven together with purpose. Even the moments that brought tears have shaped a compassion within you that will one day become a source of healing for someone else. My beloved child, I have carried you through storms that should have overwhelmed you. There were days when you thought your strength had reached its end, yet somehow you continued. That strength was not an accident. It was my presence holding you together. When your courage grew weak, mine remained steady. When your hope flickered like a small flame in the wind, I sheltered it until it could burn brightly again. So as this unusual night continues to unfold, I want you to release the lie that you have been abandoned. Let it fall away from your heart forever. Replace it with this unshakable truth. I have always been with you. I walked beside you in every valley, stood with you in every battle, and remained faithful through every unanswered question. And now, as you begin to see my hand more clearly than ever before, you will discover that every step you thought you took alone was actually taken with your loving Father walking faithfully at your side. My beloved child, there have been battles in your life that no one else could fully understand. They were not always visible on your face, nor could they be measured by the eyes of those around you. Some of your greatest struggles happened in the quiet places of your heart, where questions echoed louder than answers and where hope sometimes felt like a distant light. You tried to explain what you were feeling, but words always seemed too small. Even you struggled to understand why certain days felt so heavy. Yet I understood every moment because nothing about your journey has ever been hidden from me. There were seasons when everything appeared normal on the outside, but inside you were fighting discouragement, uncertainty, and fear. You smiled when others expected you to smile, yet your soul longed for relief. You carried responsibilities that seemed to grow heavier with each passing day. You wondered why obstacles continued to appear just when you believed you were finally moving forward. You questioned why doors opened only to close again, why relationships changed without warning, and why dreams seemed delayed even after so much prayer. These were not signs that I had forgotten you. They were moments in which your faith was being refined in ways that would prepare you for what lies ahead. I never promised that your path would be free from challenges, but I did promise that you would never face them without me. Every battle that came against you met my presence before it ever reached your life. Before fear whispered its lies into your thoughts, I already knew how I would strengthen your heart. Before confusion clouded your vision, I had already prepared wisdom to guide your next step. The conflict surprised you, but it never surprised me. Consider the goldsmith who places precious gold into the fire. The purpose of the fire is not to destroy the gold, but to remove everything that keeps it from reflecting its true beauty. As the heat rises, the impurities rise to the surface and are carefully removed. The process is not comfortable, yet it produces something far more valuable than before. In much the same way, the difficult seasons you have walked through have not been sent to erase your worth. They have revealed a strength within you that even you did not know existed. They have drawn you closer to my heart, teaching you to depend upon my faithfulness instead of your own understanding. I know there were times when you became weary of fighting battles that seemed to have no clear reason. You asked why one challenge ended only for another to begin. You wondered if peace would ever become more familiar than struggle. My beloved child, hear me carefully. The battles were never meant to define your identity. They were temporary chapters, not the conclusion of your story. The enemy hoped your hardships would convince you to stop believing, to stop hoping, and to stop expecting my goodness. But I have been quietly turning every attack into an opportunity for growth, every disappointment into preparation, and every setback into a step toward the future I have prepared for you. Even when you could not see progress, I was working beneath the surface. Like the roots of a mighty tree growing deeper during seasons of drought, your faith was expanding where no human eye could observe it. The winds that threatened to uproot you were actually driving your roots deeper into my love. One day you will look back and realize that the very seasons you wished to escape became the seasons that established your greatest strength. Do not believe the lie that your struggles have made you weak. They have made you compassionate. They have taught you to recognize the pain of others with gentleness instead of judgment. They have given you wisdom that cannot be learned through comfort alone. They have shaped a heart that knows how to trust me even when circumstances seem uncertain. What once appeared to be a burden is becoming a testimony of my sustaining grace. Now I ask you to release the fear that this battle will last forever. It will not. Every night has its morning. Every storm has its calm. Every season has its appointed end. I have already determined the limits of what you will face, and I will not allow the darkness to have the final word over your life. What seems impossible today is already within my hands, and I am guiding events in ways you cannot yet imagine. Lift your eyes beyond the struggle that has occupied your thoughts for so long. Do not let temporary circumstances convince you that your future is without hope. I am writing a greater story than the one you can presently see. The pages ahead are filled with restoration, wisdom, peace, and unexpected joy. The battle you could not explain is giving way to a victory that will one day leave you in awe of my faithfulness. My beloved child, hold firmly to my hand tonight. You are not fighting alone, and you never have been. I go before you, I walk beside you, and I remain behind you as your protector. The conflict that has wearied your heart will not have the final word. My love will. My purpose will. And the unusual work I have begun in this very night will continue until you see with your own eyes that I have always been leading you toward triumph, one faithful step at a time. My beloved child, there comes a moment in every journey when what has seemed ordinary begins to carry the fingerprints of heaven. That moment often arrives without fanfare. It does not always announce itself with loud voices or grammatic signs. It slips quietly into your life, like the first light of dawn gently pushing away the darkness. Tonight, I want you to know that you are standing at such a moment. What has appeared to be another ordinary chapter is becoming a turning point, and although your eyes may not yet recognize every detail, my hand is already guiding every step. You have become so familiar with waiting that you sometimes expect tomorrow to look exactly like yesterday. Disappointment has tried to teach you that nothing changes, that every prayer will remain suspended in silence, and that every hope must eventually be lowered to avoid another heartbreak. But I did not create you to live as a prisoner of disappointment. I created you to walk by faith, trusting that even when nothing appears to be changing on the surface, I am working in places your eyes cannot reach. Have you ever watched the sky just before sunrise? The darkest hour convinces many people that morning is still far away. Yet while the earth remains covered in darkness, the sun has already begun its journey toward the horizon. The light is coming even before anyone can see it. The world changes before the eyes recognize the change. In the same way, many of the answers you have prayed for are already moving toward you. The circumstances may still appear unchanged, but heaven has already begun shifting what seemed impossible. You have asked me for direction, for peace, for restoration, for open doors, and for renewed strength. Sometimes you expected those answers to arrive immediately, yet my wisdom has been preparing more than the answer itself. I have been preparing you. A blessing received before the heart is ready can become a burden instead of a gift. That is why I have patiently shaped your character while arranging your future. I care not only about where you are going, but also about who you are becoming along the way. Think of a sculptor standing before a rough block of stone. To someone passing by, the repeated strikes of the chisel may seem harsh and unnecessary. They see only pieces falling away. But the sculptor sees the masterpiece hidden within. Every careful strike removes what does not belong until the beauty that was always there begins to appear. My beloved child, there have been moments when life felt like those repeated strikes. You wondered why certain comforts were removed, why certain plans changed, and why certain doors remained closed. Yet I was never destroying you. I was revealing the person I created you to become. Do not fear the changes that are beginning to unfold. Change often feels uncomfortable because it asks you to release what is familiar. Even when the familiar has brought pain, it can still seem safer than stepping into the unknown. But I am calling you beyond the limits of what you have always known. I am inviting you to trust my voice more than your fears. The future I have prepared for you cannot be fully embraced while you remain chained to yesterday's disappointments. There are blessings that require courage before they require celebration. There are doors that only open when you choose to walk toward them in faith instead of waiting until every question has been answered. I am not asking you to understand everything. I am asking you to trust the one who understands everything. My vision stretches beyond today, beyond this season, and beyond every uncertainty that troubles your heart. I see the joyful reunion that follows the lonely season. I see the peace that follows the storm. I see the laughter that will replace your tears. I see the testimony that will rise from the very chapters you once wished had never been written. As this turning point begins, do not measure my work by how quickly circumstances change. Sometimes the greatest miracle is the transformation taking place within you before anything around you appears different. Already your heart is becoming steadier. Already your faith is growing deeper. Already your hope is rising again. These quiet changes are not small. They are the foundation upon which greater blessings will stand. My beloved child, I am asking you to lift your eyes beyond what has been and begin expecting what can be. Refuse to let yesterday define tomorrow. Refuse to believe that your best days have already passed. I am the God who brings streams into dry places, who breathes fresh life into weary hearts, and who opens paths where none seem possible. The ordinary moments before you are no longer merely ordinary. They are becoming sacred ground because my presence is leading you into a new season. To walk forward with quiet confidence. You do not need to force the future to arrive, nor do you need to carry the weight of making everything happen by your own strength. Simply remain close to me. Listen for my voice. Follow where I lead. The turning point has already begun, and before long you will look back on this night and realize that it was here, in what seemed like an ordinary moment, that everything quietly began to change. My beloved child, if you could see your life through my eyes for even a single moment, you would understand that nothing you have experienced has been random. Every step, every pause, every unexpected turn has been woven together with purpose. Even the seasons that seemed empty were quietly filled with my work. While you believed you were standing still, I was preparing what your heart had been praying for long before you could recognize it. Tonight I want you to see your journey differently. I want you to know that this moment did not arrive by chance. I have been preparing it from the very beginning. There were days when you wondered why your plans did not unfold the way you expected. You imagined one path, but life led you in another direction. You questioned why opportunities disappeared just as they seemed within reach. You asked why certain people entered your life only to leave again. You struggled to understand why some prayers appeared to remain unanswered while others seemed delayed beyond what you thought you could endure. Yet even in those moments, my hand never stopped moving. I was arranging details that were far beyond your ability to see. Imagine a farmer standing in a quiet field. To those passing by, it may seem as though nothing is happening. The soil looks unchanged, and there is no visible harvest. But beneath the surface, seeds are beginning a remarkable journey. They are breaking open, sending roots into the earth before they ever reach toward the sky. The unseen work is the most important part of the process. Without strong roots, there can be no lasting harvest. My beloved child, I have been doing the same within your life. Before I allow blessings to grow where everyone can see them, I first establish deep roots that will sustain them. You have sometimes mistaken preparation for delay. You believed that because the answer had not yet appeared, nothing was happening. But preparation is never wasted time. A builder does not begin with the roof. The foundation must first be made strong enough to support everything that will come later. If I had rushed the process simply to satisfy your impatience, you might have received something beautiful that could not endure. My desire has never been to give you temporary joy. My desire is to establish lasting peace, enduring purpose, and blessings that remain firm through every season. There were moments when disappointment became your closest companion. You looked at closed doors and assumed they represented failure. But many of those closed doors were acts of my protection. I saw dangers that you could not see. I knew where certain paths would eventually lead, even when they appeared attractive at first glance. What felt like rejection was often my loving hand redirecting you toward something greater. I never removed something valuable without already preparing something better according to my perfect wisdom. I have also been preparing your heart. The person you are today is not the same person you were when this journey began. You have learned compassion through your own pain. You have discovered patience through waiting. You have gained wisdom through mistakes that once filled you with regret. You have found strength in places where you once believed you were weak. These changes did not happen overnight, nor did they happen without purpose. They were shaping you into someone capable of carrying the blessings that are drawing near. You not despise the slow seasons. Rivers do not carve valleys in a single day. Mighty trees do not grow tall overnight. The greatest works in creation unfold with patience, consistency, and perfect timing. I am not hurried by the passing of days because I see the complete picture from beginning to end. While you measure time by hours and years, I measure it by purpose. I know exactly when every promise should unfold and exactly when every door should open. My timing is never early, never late, but always perfectly aligned with my plan for your life. And now I invite you to release every lingering regret over what did not happen when you expected. Stop carrying the burden of wondering whether you missed your opportunity. My beloved child, what I have prepared for you cannot be stolen by delay, nor can it be destroyed by the mistakes you have surrendered into my hands. My grace has always been greater than your failures. My purpose has always been stronger than your fears. I am able to redeem what seemed lost and breathe new life into dreams that appeared forgotten. As this unusual night continues, I want your heart to rest in this truth. You are not standing at the end of a long season of waiting without reason. You are standing at the edge of what I have been preparing all along. Every lesson, every tear, every prayer, every moment of perseverance hath been gathering together for this appointed time. Trust me a little longer. Walk with me a little farther. The seeds I planted in hidden places are beginning to rise toward the light. My beloved child, do not look backward with sorrow. Look forward with expectation. The preparation is giving way to fulfillment. The waiting is making room for wonder. The quiet work beneath the surface is about to become visible. And when you finally see what I have been preparing, you will understand that not a single moment of your journey was ever wasted in my hands. My beloved child, before you can fully receive what I am bringing into your life, there is something I gently ask you to place into my hands. It is the fear that has quietly followed you from one season to another. It is the fear that whispers that tomorrow will only repeat yesterday. It is the fear that tells you your prayers will remain unanswered, that your heart will always carry the same burdens, and that disappointment is all you should expect. That fear has spoken to you for too long. Tonight, I am calling you to release it. You were never created to carry a weight that my love has already overcome. I know why fear has found a place in your thoughts. It did not appear without reason. It grew from moments that wounded you. It took shape after promises were broken, after opportunities slipped away, after people walked out of your life, and after circumstances left you uncertain about what would happen next. Fear often disguises itself as protection. It convinces you that expecting less will hurt less. It tells you that if you stop hoping, you cannot be disappointed. But my beloved child, fear does not protect your heart. It quietly builds walls around it until you can no longer receive the peace, joy, and love I have always intended for you. Think of a traveler carrying a heavy bag over a long journey. At first, the weight seems manageable, but as the miles pass, every step becomes more exhausting. The traveler begins to slow down, not because the road has become harder, but because the burden has become too heavy. Then someone stronger comes and says, "Give it to me. You were never meant to carry this alone." The only thing standing between the traveler and relief is the willingness to let go. My beloved child, that traveler is you, and I am the one reaching out my hands. Give me the burden you have been holding so tightly. Give me your fears about the future, your worries about your family, your concerns about your health, your unanswered questions, and every hidden anxiety that steals your rest. Do not mistake surrender for weakness. The world may tell you that strength means carrying every burden by yourself, but my kingdom reveals a different truth. Real strength is trusting me enough to release what you cannot control. Real courage is choosing faith when fear insists on speaking louder. Every time you place your worries into my hands, you are declaring that my wisdom is greater than your understanding and that my power is greater than your limitations. Have you noticed how fear always tries to pull your thoughts into tomorrow? It fills your mind with endless possibilities of what could go wrong. It paints pictures of problems that have not even happened. It steals today's peace by making you live inside imaginary troubles. But I have never asked you to carry tomorrow before it arrives. I give grace for each day, strength for each step, and wisdom for each decision at the right moment. When tomorrow comes, my presence will already be there waiting for you, just as it has been every day of your life. Remember the birds that greet each morning with their songs. They do not spend the night worrying about where they will find their next meal. They rise with confidence because they live within the care I provide. Consider the wildflowers that bloom across the fields. They do not struggle to create their beauty or compete with one another. They simply grow where I have planted them, receiving the sunlight and rain that I faithfully send. If I lovingly care for the smallest details of creation, how much more will I care for you, my precious child, whom I formed with purpose and called by name? Fear also has a way of making you believe you must understand everything before you can trust me. It tells you that certainty comes before faith, but faith grows in a different direction. Faith says, even when I cannot see the entire path, I know the one who walks with me. You do not need every answer tonight. You do not need to know every detail of what lies ahead. You only need to know that I remain faithful, and my faithfulness has never failed you. There have been countless moments when you feared the worst, yet those fears never came to pass. There were situations that seemed impossible until I opened a way where none appeared to exist. There were days when you believed you would not have enough strength, yet somehow you found yourself standing, still moving forward, still held together by my grace. That was not your own power. That was me carrying you when you thought you were carrying yourself. So tonight, breathe deeply into my peace. Release the tight grip you have kept on every worry. Let your heart become still in my presence. I am not asking you to pretend that challenges do not exist. I am asking you to remember that no challenge is greater than my love, my wisdom, or my power. The unusual thing that is coming into your life cannot fully bloom in soil crowded by fear. Make room for hope. Make room for peace. Make room for expectation. My beloved child, lay down your fear at my feet and leave it there. Do not pick it up again when this moment ends. Walk forward with open hands and a trusting heart. I will carry what hath been too heavy for you, and in its place, I will fill your soul with a peace that does not depend on circumstances. As you continue this journey with me tonight, you will begin to discover that the lighter your heart becomes, the more clearly you will recognize the wonderful things I have been preparing for you all along. My beloved child, now that you have begun to lay down your fear, I invite you into something even more precious. I invite you to listen, not with hurried thoughts or anxious expectations, but with a quiet heart that is willing to recognize my voice. Tonight, there are many sounds competing for your attention. The noise of the world tells you to worry. Your past tries to remind you of old disappointments. Your fears attempt to predict tomorrow before it arrives. Even your own thoughts can become so loud that they drown out the gentle whisper I have been speaking to your heart all along. But if you become still with me, you will discover that my voice has never stopped calling your name. I do not always speak through dramatic signs or overwhelming displays of power. There are moments when I certainly can, but more often I choose the language of quiet assurance. I speak through peace that settles over your heart without explanation. I speak through unexpected hope rising where despair once lived. I speak through a gentle conviction that guides your next step even when you cannot see the entire journey. My voice does not create confusion. It brings clarity. It does not push you with fear. It leads you with love. It does not condemn you for where you have been. It calls you toward who I created you to become. There have been times when you believed I was silent simply because you expected me to speak in a different way. You waited for thunder while I sent a whisper. You searched for extraordinary signs while I was revealing myself through ordinary moments. You asked for immediate answers while I was quietly building trust within your heart. My beloved child, never underestimate the sacredness of small moments. A single whisper from me can change the direction of an entire life. Think about a shepherd walking with his flock across wide fields. The sheep are surrounded by countless sounds. The wind moves through the grass. Birds sing from the trees. Streams flow over stones. Yet when the shepherd calls, the sheep recognize his voice because they have learned to trust it. They do not follow every sound they hear. They follow the one who has faithfully cared for them. In the same way, I desire that your heart becomes so familiar with my voice that fear no longer has authority over your decisions. When confusion speaks, you will know how to wait for my peace. When doubt tries to persuade you, you will remember my promises. When uncertainty surrounds you, you will recognize that my voice remains steady and unchanging. I know your heart longs for direction. You want to know if you are making the right choices. You wonder whether you are walking the path I have prepared for you. Sometimes you become afraid of making mistakes, thinking that one wrong decision will somehow ruin the future I have planned. My beloved child, do not allow fear to silence your faith. I am fully able to guide a heart that sincerely seeks me. Even when you do not see every turn in the road, I know exactly where I am leading you. My guidance is not fragile. My purpose for your life is not easily broken. If you remain close to me, I will gently direct your steps, even through paths you never expected to walk. There are moments when my answer is yes. There are moments when my answer is wait. There are moments when my answer is no because I see what you cannot yet understand. Each answer is an expression of my love. A child may not always understand why a loving father refuses certain requests, but one day the child realizes that wisdom was protecting what innocence could not yet see. In the same way, every answer I give you flows from perfect love, even when it differs from what you hope to hear. Tonight, I ask you to slow your heart. You do not have to rush ahead searching for every answer. You do not have to force open doors that I have not yet opened. You do not have to chase after every opportunity simply because it appears attractive. Instead, rest in my presence. Let my peace become the compass that guides your decisions. Where my peace remains, continue walking with confidence. Where my peace gently withdraws, be willing to pause and wait. Waiting in my presence is never wasted time. It is often where your greatest wisdom is formed. As you spend more time with me, you will begin to notice something beautiful. The things that once frightened you will lose their power. The opinions that once controlled you will become quieter. The distractions that once seemed so important will begin to fade. Why? Because my voice will become more familiar than every other voice calling for your attention. You will discover that intimacy with me brings a confidence that circumstances cannot shake. My beloved child, there is a reason I have been speaking to you throughout this night. I am preparing your heart not only to receive blessings but to recognize my presence within them. The unusual thing that is coming is not merely about changed circumstances. It is about a deeper relationship between you and me. It is about learning to trust my whisper more than the world's noise, my promises more than your fears, and my love more than your doubts. So be still for a moment. Quiet every anxious thought. Release every demand for immediate answers. Open your heart with childlike trust. I am speaking even now, and my words are filled with life. Listen carefully tonight, my beloved child, because the voice that has carried you through every season is leading you into the new chapter I have been preparing from the very beginning. Writing, my beloved child, there are doors before you that you have not yet seen. Some are hidden because the time has not yet come for them to be revealed. Others remain closed because I am still preparing what waits on the other side. Do not mistake a closed door for the end of your journey. Many times, it is simply my loving hand protecting you until the moment is right. Tonight, I want you to lift your eyes beyond what appears impossible and begin expecting what only I can accomplish. The unusual thing that is coming into your life will not always arrive through the paths you imagined. Often, my greatest blessings enter through doors you never expected. You have spent seasons knocking on certain doors with all your strength. You prayed over them, worked toward them, and hoped they would open. When they remained closed, disappointment settled into your heart. You wondered if you had failed. You questioned whether you had misunderstood my direction. There were even moments when you believed those closed doors were proof that your dreams would never come to pass. But my beloved child, you saw only one hallway while I saw the entire house. You focused on one entrance while I was preparing another that would lead you somewhere far greater than you could imagine. Think about a traveler approaching a mountain. From where the traveler stands, the mountain appears to block every possible way forward. It seems impossible to continue. Yet from above, there is a path winding around the mountain, hidden from the traveler's view but perfectly clear to the one who sees the entire landscape. That is how I see your life. What feels like a dead end to you is often the beginning of a new direction that you could not have discovered on your own. I am never confused by the obstacles that surprise you. I already know the way through them. There have been opportunities you wished had remained. There were relationships you hoped would never end. There were plans you carefully arranged that suddenly changed without warning. At the time, those losses felt painful. You wondered why I allowed them to happen. But I ask you now to trust that every closed chapter has made room for a better one. If you continue trying to reopen doors I have gently closed, you may miss the new ones I am quietly opening before you. Do not become so attached to yesterday's expectations that you overlook today's possibilities. I delight in surprising my children. I delight in making a way where none appears to exist. I have opened doors through unexpected conversations, unlikely friendships, unforeseen opportunities, and moments that seemed ordinary until they became extraordinary. I am not limited by the resources you can see or the circumstances you can measure. My power is not confined by human expectations. I create opportunities where others see limitations, and I bring favor where none seem possible. Remember that the greatest door I open is not always an external opportunity. Sometimes I first open the door within your own heart. I open your eyes to new hope after years of discouragement. I open your mind to wisdom that changes the way you see your future. I open your spirit to peace that remains steady in the middle of uncertainty. These inner doors prepare you to walk confidently through the outer doors that will soon appear. If your heart is transformed, you will recognize blessings that fear once kept hidden from your sight. Do not be afraid when my direction differs from your plans. There are moments when I lead you onto unfamiliar paths because familiar roads can no longer carry you into the future I have prepared. Growth often begins where comfort ends. The unknown may seem intimidating, but you are not entering it alone. I walk before you, I remain beside you. I stand behind you as your protector. Every step you take in obedience is supported by my faithful presence. There will be people who cannot understand what I am doing in your life. They may question your decisions or fail to recognize the change that is taking place within you. Do not allow their uncertainty to become your own. They see only the present moment, but I see the fulfillment of promises that have not yet unfolded. Continue trusting my guidance even when others cannot yet understand. In time, what now seems unexpected will become undeniable evidence of my faithfulness. I also want you to remember that every blessing carries responsibility. When I open a new door, walk through it with humility. Do not allow pride to replace gratitude. Do not forget the seasons of waiting that taught you patience or the valleys that taught you dependence upon me. The blessings I give are meant not only to encourage you, but also to become a source of hope for others. As I have comforted you, you will one day comfort those who are still waiting for their own doors to open. My beloved child, tonight I ask you to release your grip on the doors that refuse to open. Stop standing before yesterday's entrance, hoping it will suddenly change. Turn your heart toward me instead. The future I have prepared is not behind you, it is before you. The unusual thing I promised is already moving closer with every passing moment. Trust my timing. Trust my wisdom. Trust my love. Soon you will find yourself standing before a door you never expected, and when it opens, you will understand why I lovingly kept every other one closed. Then your heart will overflow with gratitude, not for what you lost, but for what I had been preparing for you all along. My beloved child, there are wounds within you that few people have ever noticed. Some were hidden behind your smile. Others were buried beneath years of carrying on, doing what needed to be done, and telling yourself that time alone would make everything better. There are places in your heart that have remained quiet for so long that even you have almost forgotten they are still hurting. But I have never forgotten. I know every hidden scar, every silent disappointment, every betrayal that left a mark, and every dream that broke your heart. Tonight, I am coming close to those unseen places, not to remind you of the pain, but to begin restoring what has been wounded. Many people have seen your strength, but very few have seen your struggle. They admired how you kept moving forward, yet they never knew how much courage it took for you to rise each morning. They heard your laughter, but they did not hear the conversations you had with yourself in the quiet hours of the night. They celebrated your victories without realizing the battles you had already fought before reaching them. My beloved child, I saw every unseen battle. I was with you when no one else understood. I remained beside you when you felt too exhausted to explain what was happening inside your heart. Sometimes the deepest wounds are not caused by what happened, but by what never happened. Perhaps you waited for words of encouragement that never came. Perhaps you longed for love that was never expressed. Perhaps you hoped someone would stay, but they walked away instead. Maybe you prayed for reconciliation that never arrived or dreamed of opportunities that quietly disappeared. Those empty places can become just as painful as visible losses. They leave questions that linger for years. They whisper that something is missing or that somehow you were not enough. But those whispers have never spoken the truth. You have always been enough in my eyes. Before anyone else knew your name, I called you mine. Before anyone formed an opinion about you, I loved you completely. Your value has never depended on the acceptance or rejection of other people. It has never been determined by your successes or your failures. Your worth has always rested in the simple truth that you are my beloved child, created with purpose, surrounded by my love, and treasured beyond anything this world can measure. Think of a cracked vessel carefully held in the hands of a skilled craftsman. Others may see only the damage and decide it is no longer useful. But the craftsman sees something entirely different. He patiently restores every crack, strengthening the vessel without erasing its story. When the work is complete, the vessel is not only useful again, it carries a beauty that speaks of grace, perseverance, and careful restoration. My beloved child, I am that craftsman. I do not throw away what has been broken. I restore it with love. I do not erase your story. I redeem it. Healing is not always sudden. Sometimes it comes like the gentle return of spring after a long winter. Day by day, what once seemed lifeless begins to bloom again. At first the changes are so small that they are easy to overlook. A little more peace enters your thoughts. A little less fear controls your decisions. A little more joy returns to your heart. Slowly, what once felt impossible becomes your new reality. This is often how I work. I restore patiently, completely, and with perfect wisdom, ensuring that every part of your heart becomes stronger than before. There may still be memories that try to pull you backward. There may be moments when old pain unexpectedly returns to your mind. Do not mistake those memories for proof that healing has failed. A healed wound can still remind you of where you have been without controlling where you are going. The past no longer has the authority to define your future unless you continue giving it permission. Tonight, I am inviting you to release those memories into my hands. Let me carry what you were never meant to carry alone. Forgive yourself for the moments when you believed you should have been stronger. Forgive yourself for trusting people who disappointed you. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you have already surrendered to me. You cannot move freely into the future while remaining chained to endless regret. My grace has already reached the places where shame once lived. Do not continue rebuilding walls that my love has already torn down. I also want you to understand that your healing is becoming a blessing for others. One day, someone will cross your path carrying the same kind of pain you once carried. Because you know what it feels like to hurt, you will speak with compassion instead of judgment. Because I have comforted you, you will know how to comfort them. Your restored heart will become a refuge where others discover hope. Nothing you have endured will be wasted in my hands. My beloved child, as this unusual night continues, let your heart rest in my presence. Stop hiding the places that still ache. You never needed to hide them from me. Bring every wound into my light, and I will cover it with my peace. Let my love flow through every broken place like a river bringing life to dry ground. The healing I am beginning tonight reaches deeper than emotions. It reaches your identity, your hope, your confidence, and your future. Believe this with all your heart. The invisible wounds that others could not see are not invisible to me. I am touching them with tenderness. I am restoring them with patience. I am transforming them with my unfailing love. And as I continue this work within you, you will discover that the places where you once felt the weakest are becoming the very places where my strength shines the brightest. My beloved child, I know how long this season has seemed to you. There were days when you wondered if waiting had become your permanent home. You watched time move forward while your prayers appeared to stand still. You celebrated the blessings of others while quietly asking when your own season would arrive. More than once you questioned whether I had forgotten the promises I placed inside your heart. But tonight I want you to hear my voice with complete certainty. Your waiting has never been meaningless, and it is not without an ending. Waiting has a way of testing what you believe about me. It asks whether you will trust my heart even when you cannot yet see my hand. It invites you to believe that I am still working even when every visible sign appears unchanged. I know that has not been easy. There were moments when you almost gave up expecting anything different. You learned to protect yourself from disappointment by lowering your expectations. You told yourself not to hope too much because hope had become painful. Yet even when your hope grew weak, mine for you never changed. Think of the horizon just before sunrise. The person watching through the night may believe that darkness will never end because every passing minute looks the same. But then, almost without warning, a thin line of light appears. It is quiet, gentle, and easy to miss if someone is no longer watching. Within a short time, the entire sky is transformed. That is how many of my answers arrive. They begin with small signs that grow into undeniable evidence of my faithfulness. Do not overlook the small changes I have already begun within you. The peace you feel more often than before is not an accident. The strength that has quietly returned to your heart is not something you created by yourself. The renewed desire to believe again is my spirit gently awakening your expectation. Long before circumstances change around you, I begin changing what is happening within you. The miracle inside your heart often prepares the way for the miracle before your eyes. There were prayers you offered years ago that you barely remember now, yet I remember every word. I remember every tear that accompanied them. I remember every moment you whispered my name because you had nowhere else to turn. I have treasured those prayers, not ignored them. Some answers came quickly because the season was ready. Others required time because they were connected to people, places, and moments that had to come together according to my perfect wisdom. My timing is never careless. It is filled with purpose, compassion, and love. Do not allow delay to convince you that denial is your destiny. A fruit picked before it is ripe cannot satisfy its purpose. A house built without a strong foundation cannot endure the storm. A heart that receives a blessing before it is prepared may not recognize its value. That is why I have been patient with you. I have been preparing your character as carefully as I have been preparing your future. What I place into your hands, I desire to remain with you for generations, not merely for a passing season. There's movement taking place even now that you cannot yet measure. Conversations are unfolding that will influence your tomorrow. Hearts are being softened. Paths are being cleared. Opportunities are quietly approaching. I am arranging details with a precision that only heaven can accomplish. You do not have to force these events into existence. Your responsibility is not to carry the future upon your shoulders. Your responsibility is to remain faithful, to keep walking with me, and to trust that what I have promised will arrive at the appointed time. When the waiting finally gives way to fulfillment, you will understand why I asked you to be patient. You will see connections that were invisible before. You will recognize that what felt like delay was actually protection, preparation, and perfect timing woven together. You will discover that I never wasted a single moment of your journey. Every season had a purpose, and every purpose has been leading you toward this new beginning. So lift your eyes once more, my beloved child. Refuse to let yesterday's disappointments speak louder than tomorrow's promises. Let expectation rise again. Let hope breathe once more. The season is shifting, and the dawn you have longed for is closer than you realize. Continue trusting me with quiet confidence, because your waiting is giving way to the fulfillment I have been preparing from the very beginning. As my words settle into your heart, let your response become more than gratitude. Let it become a seed that helps reach another weary soul. I tell you that every act of generosity sown into this mission becomes a light that shines into places you may never personally see. My word declares, whoever sows generously will also reap generously, and I speak that promise over those who give with willing hearts. If your spirit has been strengthened tonight, let that strength become hope for someone else who is still searching for me. This is your moment to answer my invitation with faith. through your YouTube Super Thanks, your membership, or your PayPal gift using the donation link in the video description or the QR code shown in this video. You help carry my message farther than your own voice can reach. I will breathe life into every sincere gift offered in love, and I will multiply its impact beyond what you can imagine. I see every generous heart, and I will remember every seed planted for my kingdom. As you release what I have placed in your hands, I will continue to pour fresh peace, wisdom, and provision into your life. Do not let this holy moment pass by without responding to my call. Rise now, sow into this work, and become part of the harvest of souls I am gathering. My beloved child, there are memories that still visit your heart from time to time. They are not the memories of your greatest victories, but of the moments you wish you could rewrite. You remember the decisions that did not lead where you hoped. You remember the words you wish had remained unspoken, the opportunities you believe you wasted, and the seasons when fear, impatience, or uncertainty guided your choices instead of faith. Sometimes you look back on those moments with deep regret and quietly wonder if you have wandered too far from the future I prepared for you. But tonight I want to lift that burden from your heart with this unchanging truth. Even your mistakes will serve my purpose when they are surrendered into my hands. You not misunderstand my words. I do not delight in your pain, nor do I desire that you stumble. Yet I am so great in my wisdom and so complete in my love that I am able to bring redemption from places where you see only failure. What appears broken to you is never beyond my ability to restore. What seems wasted is never beyond my ability to transform. I have always been the God who brings beauty from ashes, hope from despair, and new beginnings from endings that seemed final. Think of a skilled weaver creating a magnificent tapestry. From the back of the fabric, the threads appear tangled and without order. Colors cross in unexpected ways and nothing seems to make sense. But when the tapestry is turned over, a breathtaking design is revealed. Every thread, even the ones that looked misplaced, has become part of something beautiful. My beloved child, many times you have judged your life by looking only at the unfinished side. You have seen knots where I see purpose. You have seen confusion where I see completion. You have seen mistakes where I already see redemption. There were decisions you made with limited understanding. You acted according to what you knew at the time. Sometimes you chose from fear instead of trust. Sometimes you followed voices that did not lead you toward peace. At other times, you simply grew tired of waiting and tried to create your own solution. You have carried guilt over these moments far longer than I ever intended. When you came to me with a sincere heart, seeking my forgiveness, I did not hold your past against you. I welcomed you with mercy, covered you with grace, and began the work of restoration. Why, then, do you continue condemning yourself for what I have already forgiven? Why do you revisit doors that I have already closed? Why do you keep speaking sentences over your life that my love has erased? My beloved child, the voice that constantly reminds you of forgiven failures is not my voice. I correct with love, but I do not imprison with shame. I lead you toward freedom, not endless regret. When I forgive, I also invite you to walk forward with confidence, trusting that my grace is sufficient for every step ahead. Consider the life of a traveler who takes a wrong turn on a long journey. The traveler may believe the destination is now impossible to reach, but the guide who knows every road simply chooses another path. The destination has not changed. Only the route has. In the same way, there have been moments when you wandered from the path I first revealed, yet I never abandoned you. I patiently redirected you. I placed people in your life to encourage you. I closed dangerous roads. I opened unexpected opportunities. I continued leading you because my purpose for your life is greater than your mistakes. Some of the compassion you now carry was born from your own failures. You no longer judge others as quickly because you know what it feels like to need mercy. You extend grace because you have experienced my grace. You listen more carefully because you understand the pain of being misunderstood. Even the chapters you once wished had never happened have shaped qualities within you that will become blessings to many others. Nothing placed into my hands remains without purpose. I also want you to release the fear that you have somehow missed my perfect plan forever. My plans are not as fragile as you imagine. They do not collapse because of one wrong decision or one difficult season. I am the Lord of redemption, and I know how to restore what has been lost. I know how to rebuild what has been broken. I know how to lead you into a future that is still filled with hope. What matters most is not where you have been, but whether your heart is willing to continue walking with me today. Do not spend the precious days I have given you looking backward with sorrow. The enemy would gladly keep your eyes fixed on yesterday so that you never notice the opportunities I am placing before you today. But I am calling you to lift your head. The lessons of the past are valuable, but they are not your home. Your home is found in my presence, where mercy is new every morning and where hope is constantly being renewed. My beloved child, let tonight become the night you stop defining yourself by your failures. You are not the sum of your worst decisions. You are not the voice of your regrets. You are not trapped by the chapters that caused you pain. You are my beloved child, redeemed by my grace, strengthened by my love, and guided by my faithful hand. Every mistake you have surrendered to me is being woven into a greater testimony of my goodness. Walk forward without fear. Walk forward without shame. Walk forward knowing that I am still writing your story. The pages ahead are not stained by the mistakes behind you. They are filled with fresh mercy, renewed purpose, and unexpected joy. Trust me with every chapter that remains, and you will discover that even the places where you once stumbled have become stepping stones leading you toward the beautiful future I have prepared from the very beginning. My beloved child, I know there have been days when simply getting through the day felt like a victory. You carried responsibilities that seemed endless, faced challenges that demanded more than you believe you could give, and poured yourself into others until you scarcely recognized your own weariness. There were moments when you smiled, while your soul quietly cried out for rest. You continued moving forward because you believed you had no other choice. Yet deep within your heart you wondered how much longer you could keep going. I have seen every one of those moments. Not one sigh escaped my notice. Not one tear fell without my compassion. Tonight, I want you to receive something you have needed for a long time. I want you to receive my strength. The world often tells you that strength comes from trying harder, pushing farther, and caring more. It praises those who never slowed down and admires those who appear unshaken by life's burdens. But the strength I offer is different. My strength is not born from endless striving. It is born from abiding in my presence. It does not demand that you prove yourself. It simply asks you to trust me. When you stop depending solely upon your own ability, you begin discovering the limitless supply of my grace. There were seasons when you believed you had reached the end of your strength. You thought your patience had run out. You believed your hope had almost disappeared. You questioned whether your faith was enough to continue. Yet somehow you kept moving. Somehow you found the courage to rise one more morning, to whisper one more prayer, and to take one more step. My beloved child, that was not because you were stronger than you imagined. It was because I was faithfully carrying you even when you did not realize it. My strength quietly became your strength. Think of an eagle soaring high above the mountains. It does not remain in the sky by frantically flapping its wings every moment. Instead, it spreads its wings and allows the wind to lift it higher. The eagle trusts the currents that were created to carry it. In the same way, I am inviting you to stop exhausting yourself by trying to control everything. Spread the wings of your faith and allow my spirit to lift what your own strength cannot carry. There are burdens you were never meant to bear alone. Perhaps you have grown tired because you have been carrying worries that belong to me. You have replayed conversations that cannot be changed. You have imagined problems that have not yet arrived. You have accepted responsibility for outcomes that are beyond your control. All of these things quietly drain your heart. But I am gently asking you tonight to release them into my hands. You do not have to solve every problem before you can experience peace. You do not have to know every answer before you can find rest. My presence is enough for this moment, and my grace will be enough for every moment that follows. Do not mistake exhaustion for failure. Feeling weary does not mean you have lost your faith. Even the strongest hearts grow tired after long journeys. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It is one of my gifts. I created rhythms of renewal because I know how deeply your soul needs them. Just as the earth is refreshed by gentle rain after a season of heat, your spirit is refreshed when you spend time in my presence. I do not ask you to earn my love through constant effort. I ask you to receive it freely and allow that love to renew you from within. There is a difference between surviving and living. For too long, you have sometimes settled for merely surviving because the weight upon your shoulders seemed too great. But I did not create you only to endure life. I created you to experience my peace, my joy, and my purpose. As I restore your strength, I am also restoring your ability to dream again, to hope again, and to believe that good things still lie ahead. Weariness has tried to narrow your vision until all you could see was the next challenge. My strength lifts your eyes so you can once again see the horizon filled with promise. I also want you to remember that strength grows quietly. Just as a tree becomes stronger through each changing season, your faith has been developing through every trial you have endured. The storms did not destroy you. They deepened your roots. The delays did not weaken you. They taught you patience. The disappointments did not end your story. They prepared your heart to appreciate the blessings that are now drawing near. You are far stronger than you realize because my hand has been sustaining you every step of the way. As this unusual night continues, I invite you to breathe deeply and rest in my promises. Let every anxious thought begin to fade. Let every heavy burden grow lighter as you place it before me. You do not have to prove your worth. You do not have to carry tomorrow on your shoulders. I am the one who watches over you without growing weary. I never become tired of loving you, guiding you, or strengthening you. My power never diminishes, and my compassion never runs dry. My beloved child, receive my strength now. Let it flow into every place where discouragement has settled. Let it renew your mind, steady your heart, and restore your confidence. The road ahead may still require faith, but you will not walk it alone. I will be your strength when you feel weak, your peace when you feel troubled, and your hope when the future seems uncertain. The same hand that has carried you through every season will continue to uphold you. And as you walk forward with me, you will discover that what once felt impossible is becoming possible, not because of your own power, but because my strength is being made perfect within you. My beloved child, I know there have been moments when you believed the storm would never end. The winds seemed too strong, the waves too high, and the clouds too dark for you to imagine a peaceful horizon again. There were days when every step required more courage than you thought you possessed. You asked yourself how much longer you could endure. You wondered if this difficult season had somehow become your permanent reality. But listen carefully to my voice tonight. The storm was never your destination. It was only a place you had to pass through. I did not create you to live beneath constant fear or endless struggle. I have always been leading you toward peace, even when the journey took you through turbulent waters. When storms arrive, they often change the way you see everything around you. The sky that once looked bright becomes hidden behind heavy clouds. Familiar paths become difficult to recognize. Even the strongest trees bend beneath the force of the wind. In the same way, hardship can make you question things that once seemed certain. It can make you wonder whether my promises are still true or whether my presence is still near. Yet, my beloved child, my faithfulness is not determined by the weather of your circumstances. I remain the same whether the sky is clear or filled with clouds. I do not leave you when the winds begin to rise. I draw even closer. Think of a ship crossing a vast sea. The captain does not abandon the journey because a storm appears on the horizon. He adjusts the sails, holds firmly to the course, and continues moving toward the destination. The storm may delay the voyage, but it does not decide where the ship will ultimately arrive. In the same way, the challenges you have faced have not changed the destination I prepared for your life. They may have slowed your pace. They may have taught you lessons you never expected to learn. But they have never had the authority to cancel my purpose for you. There were nights when you cried out to me, asking why the storm had entered your life at all. You searched for reasons that seemed impossible to find. Sometimes there are lessons hidden within the wind that can only be understood after it has passed. Storms reveal where your foundation truly rests. They uncover fears that have remained hidden beneath the surface. They teach you to depend upon my strength instead of your own. What seemed like an interruption often became an invitation to know me more deeply than ever before. I never delighted in your pain, but I refused to waste it. Every difficult moment became an opportunity for my grace to meet you in a new way. Every disappointment became a place where my comfort could reach deeper into your heart. Every delay became a reminder that my timing is wiser than human understanding. Even when you could not see it, I was shaping your character with every passing season. The storm was not writing your story. I was. There were moments when you thought you had lost something forever. Perhaps you lost confidence. Perhaps you lost relationships you cherished. Perhaps you lost dreams that once filled your heart with excitement. But remember this, my beloved child, not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Sometimes I remove what can no longer sustain the future I have prepared for you. Just as a gardener prunes branches so the tree may bear even greater fruit, I have lovingly removed certain things so that healthy growth could begin. At the time, it felt painful. Looking back, you will one day recognize my wisdom in every careful decision. Do not allow the memory of past storms to make you afraid of future skies. Fear has a way of convincing you that because something painful happened once, it will happen again. But I have not called you to live by fear. I have called you to live by faith. Faith remembers not only the storm, but also the countless times I carried you safely through it. Faith remembers that every valley eventually gave way to higher ground. Faith remembers that every tear was met by my compassion, and every weary step was strengthened by my presence. Even now, as you listen to my voice, you may still see clouds lingering on the horizon. Do not be discouraged. Clouds are temporary. They cannot prevent the sun from rising. They cannot erase the light that already exists beyond them. In the same way, your present circumstances cannot erase the promises I have spoken over your life. My plans remain unchanged. My love remains unwavering. My purpose remains secure. There is a peace that does not wait for perfect conditions before it enters your heart. It comes from knowing that I am with you regardless of what surrounds you. It comes from trusting that I hold tomorrow just as securely as I hold today. This peace is not fragile. It cannot be destroyed by uncertainty because it is rooted in my unchanging nature. I am the anchor that keeps you steady when everything else seems to move. My beloved child, lift your eyes beyond the storm. Do not build your home in a season that was only meant to be a passage. Keep walking with me, even if the path still feels unfamiliar. Every faithful step brings you closer to the place I have prepared. The winds will grow quiet. The waves will become still. The sky will clear again. And when you finally reach the shore, you will look back and realize that what once threatened to overwhelm you became the very journey that revealed the depth of my faithfulness. So let your heart rest tonight. The storm was never your destination. Your destination has always been my peace, my presence, and the abundant life I have lovingly prepared for you. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that I have never lost sight of where I am leading you. Every mile of this journey has been held in my hands, and the best of what I have promised is still waiting just ahead. My beloved child, there are moments when I ask you to keep walking even though you cannot yet see where the path will lead. I know that is not always easy for you. You naturally want certainty before taking the next step. You want to understand how every unanswered question will be resolved, how every prayer will be fulfilled, and how every promise will come to pass. But if you could already see everything, there would be no need to trust me. Faith grows strongest in the places where sight reaches its limit. Tonight, I am inviting you to trust what you cannot yet see, because I can already see the beautiful future unfolding before you. I understand why uncertainty makes your heart uneasy. You have lived through unexpected disappointments. You have seen carefully made plans change without warning. You have experienced seasons where everything familiar seemed to disappear, leaving you wondering what would happen next. Those memories can make it difficult to believe that the unknown holds something good. Fear tries to convince you that what you cannot see should be feared. But my beloved child, the unknown is not empty. It is filled with my presence. Before you ever arrive at tomorrow, I am already there preparing the way for you. Imagine a tiny seed resting beneath the soil. To anyone looking at the ground, it appears as though nothing is happening. The earth seems quiet and unchanged. Yet beneath the surface, life is already unfolding. The seed is breaking open. Roots are stretching downward. A small shoot is preparing to rise toward the light. None of this is visible at first, but it is no less real. If someone judged the seed only by what they could see, they might believe it had been forgotten. But the unseen work is what makes the visible harvest possible. In the same way, I am working beneath the surface of your life. Even when your eyes cannot detect movement, my hands are never still. There have been times when you prayed and then waited, wondering if your words had reached me. You questioned whether your prayers were making any difference because the circumstances around you remained the same. Yet every sincere prayer hath been heard. Every tear hath been noticed. Every quiet moment when you placed your hope in me has become part of the work I am accomplishing. Do not mistake silence for inactivity. Some of my greatest works begin in places where human eyes cannot yet recognize them. My beloved child, trust is not pretending that you have no questions. Trust is choosing to believe my character even when you do not understand my methods. You already know that I love you. You have seen my faithfulness in seasons that once seemed impossible. You have experienced my comfort when your heart was broken, and my strength when you believed you had none left. Let those memories become the foundation upon which you stand today. If I have been faithful before, I will be faithful again. My nature does not change with the passing of time. Sometimes you ask me to show you the entire journey before you are willing to begin. But I often reveal only the next step because I desire that you walk closely with me. If I showed you every detail at once, you might begin depending on the plan instead of depending on me. My desire has never been merely to lead you to a destination. My desire is to walk with you every step of the way. The relationship we share is more precious than the answers you seek. Think about a child walking through a dark room while holding a loving father's hand. The child may not be able to see every corner of the room, but there is peace because the father's hand never lets go. The child does not need to understand the entire path. The child simply trusts the one who is leading. My beloved child, I have been holding your hand through every uncertain season. Even when your faith felt small, my grip remained firm. I have never loosened my hold on you, and I never will. Do not become discouraged if progress seems slower than you expected. Growth often happens quietly. The strongest trees spend years developing roots before they reach great heights. Rivers patiently shape vows one gentle current at a time. Dawn does not burst upon the earth in a single instant, but slowly fills the sky with light until darkness has completely disappeared. In the same way, the work I am doing in your life unfolds according to perfect wisdom. Every day carries purpose, even when that purpose is not immediately visible. As you continue this journey with me, you will discover that faith opens your eyes to possibilities that fear could never imagine. Fear focuses only on what might go wrong. Faith remembers who is in control. Fear counts obstacles. Faith counts my promises. Fear keeps looking backward at past disappointments. Faith keeps looking forward with quiet confidence because it knows that I remain faithful in every season. My beloved child, tonight I ask you to release your need to understand everything before you choose to believe. Let your heart rest in the certainty of my love instead of the uncertainty of your circumstances. I am already preparing blessings you cannot yet see, opening doors you have not yet discovered, and arranging moments that will leave you amazed by my perfect timing. Trust me when the path is clear, and trust me when it is hidden. Trust me when the answers come quickly, and trust me when they take time. I am the one who sees the end from the beginning, and I promise that every step you take with me is leading you closer to the beautiful future I have prepared for you. One day, what is invisible tonight will become undeniable, and you will look back with gratitude, realizing that trusting what you could not yet see was the beginning of one of the greatest blessings of your life. My beloved child, there are seasons when it feels as though everything around you has been firmly established. You become familiar with certain routines, relationships, expectations, and plans. You begin to believe that this is how life will always remain. Then, without warning, something changes. A door closes. A new opportunity appears. A relationship shift. A dream takes an unexpected direction. At first, your heart may resist these changes because you cannot yet see what I see. You may wonder why I would allow familiar things to move when they once seemed so secure. But tonight I want you to understand something that will bring peace to your heart. I am rearranging what you thought was fixed, not to bring confusion into your life, but to align you with the future I have prepared for you. You often think of change as loss because you naturally compare what is ending with what you can already see. But I compare what is ending with what is about to begin. My vision is not limited to the present moment. I see the joy that waits beyond today's uncertainty. I see the friendships that are still waiting to enter your life. I see the opportunities that have not yet appeared. I see the healing that will replace your pain and the peace that will quiet every restless thought. While you mourn what seems to be leaving, I am preparing what is coming. Have you ever watched an artist creating a beautiful painting? In the early stages, the canvas often appears incomplete. Colors seem out of place. Shapes make little sense. Someone looking too soon might think the artist has made a mistake. But the artist is not finished. Every brushstroke has a purpose, even when the final picture cannot yet be recognized. My beloved child, your life is still being painted by my hands. Do not judge the masterpiece while I am still adding the next brushstroke. The changes you see today are not signs that I have abandoned my plan. They are evidence that I am continuing my work. There were things you prayed for years ago that no longer fit the person you have become. There were dreams that reflected the understanding you had then, but not the wisdom you have now. As you have grown closer to me, I have also been reshaping your desires. This is not because your old dreams were wrong, but because my plans for you are even greater than what you once imagined. Sometimes I answer your prayers by giving you exactly what you requested. Other times, I answer by giving you something better than you knew to ask for. Do not be afraid when I remove what has become too small for the future I have prepared. A child may become attached to shoes that once fit perfectly, but loving parents know those shoes must eventually be replaced. Keeping them would only limit the child's growth. In the same way, there are seasons, habits, and even relationships that cannot continue into the next chapter of your journey. Not because they were without value, but because they have fulfilled their purpose. Holding on to them beyond their season would keep you from walking freely into what lies ahead. I know change can make your heart feel uncertain. You wonder whether you will have enough strength for what is coming. You question whether you are ready. You ask whether you will recognize the right path when it appears. My beloved child, the same God who has faithfully carried you through every previous season will also carry you through this one. I never call you into a new chapter without providing the grace needed to live within it. My provision always arrives with my purpose. There are details you cannot yet understand because they belong to tomorrow instead of today. If I revealed everything at once, your heart might become overwhelmed. Instead, I gently unfold my plan one step at a time. Every day you walk with me, another piece of the picture becomes clear. This is how trust grows, not through having every answer, but through discovering again and again that my faithfulness never fails. Remember the river that flows toward the sea. It does not resist every bend in its path. It does not become discouraged when the landscape changes. It continues flowing because its destination remains certain. Along the way, it nourishes fields, refreshes forests, and brings life wherever it passes. In the same way, I want your heart to remain flexible in my hands. Do not fear the bends in the journey. They are not taking you away from your purpose. They are leading you into it. You have spent enough time trying to hold together things that I am gently asking you to release. Let go of the need to control every outcome. Let go of the expectation that everything must happen according to your own understanding. Let go of the belief that change always brings loss. Instead, embrace the truth that my love is guiding every transition. Nothing enters your life without passing through my wisdom first. Nothing leaves your life without my awareness. I remain Lord over every chapter, every beginning, and every ending. As this unusual night continues, I want you to open your hands before me. Do not cling so tightly to yesterday that you cannot receive tomorrow. I am placing new opportunities into your life, but your hands must be free to receive them. I am leading you into deeper peace, greater wisdom, stronger faith, and blessings that will reveal my goodness in ways you have never imagined. My beloved child, trust the rearranging. Trust the changes you do not yet understand. Trust the quiet work I am doing behind the scenes. I am not taking anything from you without preparing something that will draw you closer to my heart and further into your purpose. What seems uncertain today will one day become one of the clearest demonstrations of my faithfulness. When you look back on this season, you will not remember it as the time everything fell apart. You will remember it as the moment I lovingly rearranged your life so that everything could finally come together according to my perfect plan. My beloved child, there is something sacred about the quiet hours of the night. When the voices of the day begin to fade, when the endless demands of life grow still, and when the world around you finally becomes silent, you often find yourself alone with your thoughts. For some, the night brings rest. But for you, there have been nights when it brought questions, memories, worries, and tears. There were evenings when sleep would not come because your heart was carrying more than your mind could settle. You lay awake wondering about tomorrow, replaying yesterday, and searching for peace that seemed just beyond your reach. Yet even in those silent hours, you were never alone. The night has always carried my presence. Many people fear the darkness because they cannot see what surrounds them. But I am not limited by darkness. The night is as clear to me as the brightest day. Where your vision ends, mine remains perfect. Where your strength begins to fade, my power remains unchanged. You may not always recognize me in the stillness, but I have often chosen the quiet of the night to draw near to your heart in ways that busy days could never allow. Think of the stars scattered across the sky. They are always present, even when daylight hides them from your eyes. Their light has not disappeared simply because the sun is shining. It waits patiently until the darkness reveals what was there all along. My beloved child, my presence is much like those stars. There have been seasons when the activity of life distracted you from noticing how near I was. But when everything became quiet, when distractions fell away, and when you had nowhere else to turn, you began to sense that I had been with you all along. I know there have been nights when you cried without anyone hearing your voice. You tried to be strong throughout the day, carrying responsibilities with courage, speaking words of encouragement to others while quietly hiding your own pain. Then the night arrived, and all the emotions you had held inside began to surface. Those tears were never signs of weakness. They were honest prayers flowing from a heart that longed for my comfort. Every tear was seen. Every sigh was heard. Every whispered prayer reached my heart. Do not be ashamed of the nights when you felt fragile. Some of the deepest conversations we have shared happened when you had no strength left to pretend. It was in those moments that your heart became open, sincere, and ready to receive my peace. The world teaches you to hide your weakness, but I invite you to bring it into my presence. I never reject a heart that comes to me honestly. I meet it with compassion, tenderness, and unfailing love. The night also teaches you something that daylight sometimes hides. It reminds you that you are not in control of everything, and that realization can become a beautiful gift. During the day, you work, plan, solve problems, and carry responsibilities. But eventually the evening comes, inviting you to rest. Rest is an act of trust. Every time you close your eyes in peace, you acknowledge that I will continue watching over your life while you sleep. I never grow tired. I never become distracted. I remain faithful through every hour, guarding what you cannot guard and preparing what you cannot prepare. There are blessings I have begun during the quiet hours that you will only recognize later. Just as seeds grow beneath the earth while the world sleeps, I often begin my greatest work while everything appears still. Healing takes root in silence. Wisdom grows in reflection. Peace settles into hearts that choose to become still before me. The world celebrates constant movement, but my kingdom often moves with gentle patience. Do not underestimate the power of simply resting in my presence. Perhaps tonight feels uncertain, Perhaps questions still remain unanswered. Maybe your heart is waiting for a breakthrough you cannot yet see. My beloved child, do not let uncertainty steal the beauty of this moment. Instead of filling the silence with fear, fill it with trust. Instead of allowing anxious thoughts to race through your mind, allow my promises to become your resting place. You do not need every answer tonight. You only need to know that I am here. Listen carefully to the quiet around you. Beyond the noise of your worries, my peace is speaking. Beyond the memories that try to trouble your heart, my love remains steady. Beyond every unanswered question, my faithfulness continues working without interruption. I have never stopped caring for you. I have never paused my plans for your life. Even while you sleep, I continue arranging what will unfold in the days ahead. The unusual thing I promised is drawing nearer with every passing moment. You may expect it to arrive with great excitement or dramatic signs, but sometimes my greatest gifts enter your life gently, just as the morning slowly replaces the night. The first light does not argue with the darkness. It simply appears, and darkness quietly gives way. In the same manner, my peace is entering places where fear once ruled. My hope is rising where discouragement once lived. My healing is touching places that have remained hidden for years. So, my beloved child, do not fear the night. Welcome it as a sacred reminder that I am near. Let the silence become a sanctuary where your soul finds rest. Let every star remind you that my promises continue shining even when you cannot immediately see their fulfillment. Lay your burdens before me and allow your heart to become still. For while the world sleeps, your heavenly Father remains awake, watching over you with perfect love. And as this night continues to unfold, you will discover that my presence has been the greatest gift surrounding you all along, preparing your heart for the beautiful dawn that is now closer than ever before. My beloved child, there is something I want you to know that may be difficult for you to believe, yet it has always been true. Not one tear you have ever shed has been meaningless. The world may overlook your sorrow. People may forget the moments when your heart quietly broke. Time may move on as though nothing happened. But I have never looked away from your pain. Every tear has been seen. Every cry had been heard. Every silent ache has been gathered into my heart with perfect love. You have never wept alone, even when no one else was there to comfort you. There were tears that flowed because of loss. You said goodbye to people, places, and seasons that you never wanted to leave behind. You held tightly to memories while wondering how life could continue without what you had known. Those moments felt like pieces of your heart had been scattered across the path behind you. Yet even then, I walked beside you, collecting every fragment you believed was gone forever. I am the one who restores what grief tries to steal. There were tears born from disappointment. You prayed with sincere faith, believing the answer would come quickly, but instead you found yourself waiting. You watched opportunities disappear. You watched plans change. You wondered why the door you had hoped would open remained firmly closed. You questioned whether your prayers had reached heaven at all. My beloved child, they reached me the moment they left your heart. I never ignored them. I was preparing answers greater than your present understanding could contain. Some tears came from loneliness. You were surrounded by people, yet you felt unseen. You longed for someone to understand what words could never fully express. You wished someone would notice the heaviness you carried without requiring you to explain it. There were moments when you questioned whether anyone truly knew the real you. But I knew you completely. Before your tears reached your eyes, I already understood the sorrow that produced them. I saw what others missed. I heard the prayers you could not even put into words. Think of gentle rain falling upon dry ground after a long season of drought. At first, the earth simply absorbs the water without visible change. But beneath the surface, life begins to awaken. Seeds long hidden beneath the soil begin to stir. Roots receive strength. What appeared barren starts preparing for new growth. In the same way, your tears have never been wasted. They have softened places within your heart that hardship had hardened. They have prepared the soil for compassion, wisdom, patience, and faith to grow in ways that comfort alone never could. I know there were times when you apologized for your tears. You believed you should have been stronger. You thought faith meant never crying, never struggling, never feeling overwhelmed. But my beloved child, tears are not the opposite of faith. Often they are the language of faith. They are honest expressions of a heart that still turns toward me even in pain. I never asked you to hide your emotions from me. I invited you to bring them into my presence because I care deeply about every part of your life. Do you remember the moments when you believed you had reached the end of your strength? You wondered if you could endure one more disappointment, one more delay, one more difficult conversation. Yet somehow you continued. You stood again after falling. You prayed again after waiting. You hoped again after heartbreak. That perseverance was not produced by your own strength alone. My hand was quietly lifting you each time you believed you could rise no further. I never allowed your tears to become your defeat. I transformed them into prayers that drew you closer to my heart. One day you will look back upon seasons that once brought you sorrow, and you will see them differently. You will recognize I carried you through every valley. You will notice blessings that were invisible while you were walking through the pain. You will understand that what seemed like silence was often my quiet preparation. The chapters that once caused tears will become testimonies of my faithfulness. Others will find hope because they will see how I restored you when restoration seemed impossible. I also want you to release the belief that crying makes you weak. The strongest hearts are often those that have learned to remain tender after experiencing pain. A hardened heart cannot receive love as freely, but a heart softened by my grace becomes fertile ground for joy to grow again. I am not removing your ability to feel deeply. I am redeeming it. The compassion you now carry will become a blessing to those who cross your path, carrying burdens similar to the ones you once bore. Tonight, I invite you to place every hidden sorrow into my hands. Do not carry yesterday's grief into tomorrow's promise. There is healing waiting where forgiveness begins. There is peace waiting where trust is renewed. There is hope waiting where fear finally releases its grip. I am not asking you to forget what happened. I am asking you to trust me with what happened. Let me hold the memories that have become too heavy for your heart. My beloved child, your tears have not been collected so they can remain symbols of sadness. They have been gathered because they are precious to me. They tell the story of your endurance, your honesty, your love, and your unwavering desire to keep seeking me even through the darkest nights. I will not allow those tears to be the final chapter of your story. Joy is quietly approaching. Peace is drawing near. Restoration is already unfolding. As this unusual night continues, lift your eyes toward me once more. The tears you once cried in secret are becoming seeds of hope that will bloom in seasons to come. A pain that once seemed endless is giving way to comfort that will remain. Trust me with every memory, every wound, and every unanswered question. I have collected your tears with loving hands, and in exchange, I am placing into your heart a joy that no sorrow will ever be able to steal. My beloved child, there are moments in your life when every direction seems blocked. You look ahead and see obstacles. You look behind and see the roads you can no longer return to. You search to the left and to the right, hoping for an answer, but all you find are questions. In those moments, fear quietly whispers that there is no way forward. It tells you that you have reached the end of your journey, that your dreams have gone as far as they can go, and that your prayers have met an impossible wall. But listen closely to my voice tonight. What appears impossible to you has never been impossible to me. Long before you arrived at this place, I had already begun making a way. You often think that I work only when you can see movement. You expect visible signs before you believe that change has begun. Yet some of my greatest works take place where human eyes cannot yet perceive them. While you are standing before what seems like a closed path, I am already preparing another one. While you are wondering how the answer will come, I am arranging details that have not yet entered your view. My plans do not depend upon the limitations of this world. They flow from my endless wisdom and my unfailing love. Imagine a river flowing through a vast wilderness. At first glance, the land appears dry and lifeless. There seems to be no hope for anything to grow. But the river continues moving, patiently carving its path through the earth. Over time, life begins to appear where none seem possible. Trees grow beside its banks. Flowers bloom. Birds gather. What was once barren becomes filled with beauty because the river found a way. My beloved child, my grace is like that river. It does not stop because the landscape appears difficult. It continues moving until life begins to flourish again. No obstacle is greater than the flow of my purpose. There have been seasons when you believed that one unanswered prayer meant the end of your hope. You looked at your circumstances and quietly concluded that nothing would ever change. Perhaps you have been waiting for healing, restoration, provision, or reconciliation. Perhaps you have asked me again and again for direction while feeling as though heaven remained silent. Yet my silence has never meant abandonment. Often, while you are waiting for me to move in one direction, I am preparing a greater answer through another path entirely. You not measure my ability by the size of the challenge before you. Mountains may appear immovable to human strength, but they do not intimidate me. Storms may seem overwhelming to your heart, but they cannot shake my faithfulness. Closed doors may discourage you, but I know where every key belongs. Nothing surprises me. Nothing catches me unprepared. Every difficulty you face has already been seen through the eyes of my perfect wisdom, and I have never failed to provide what my children truly need. Sometimes the way I create is not the one you expected. You may ask me to remove every obstacle, while I choose instead to strengthen you so that you can walk through it with confidence. You may ask for immediate answers, while I patiently develop within you the character needed to sustain the blessing you seek. You may pray for an easier path, while I prepare a better destination. My answers are shaped by eternal love, not temporary comfort. Remember the many times I have already made a way for you. Think back to situations that once seemed impossible. There were moments when you believed you would never recover from disappointment. Yet here you are. There were burdens you thought would crush you, yet I carried you through them. There were doors that closed unexpectedly, yet later you discovered they were protecting you from paths that could not lead to peace. Even when you did not recognize my hand, I was faithfully guiding every step. I want you to stop looking only at the obstacle and begin looking toward me. The obstacle is not your source. The problem is not your provider. Your circumstances are not the author of your future. I am. When your eyes remain fixed upon difficulty, fear grows larger. But when your eyes remain fixed upon me, faith begins to rise. Faith does not ignore reality. Faith simply remembers that my reality is greater than anything standing before you. There are people, places, and opportunities already moving into position according to my perfect timing. Conversations are taking place that will influence your future. Hearts are being prepared. Doors are quietly unlocking. Paths are becoming clear. Though you cannot yet see these changes, they are no less real. Heaven has never stopped working on your behalf. Every detail unfolds according to a wisdom far greater than human understanding. Do not become impatient while waiting for the road to appear. A traveler who rushes ahead in darkness often misses the safe path that becomes visible with the morning light. Walk with me one step at a time. I will reveal what you need when you need it. I will never ask you to carry tomorrow before today has ended. My grace arrives exactly when it is needed, never too late and never too early. My beloved child, the unusual thing I promised is already drawing closer. The path you thought had disappeared is being restored by my hand. What seemed like an ending is becoming a new beginning. What appeared to be a barrier is becoming the place where my power will be revealed most clearly. Do not lose heart because the way is not yet fully visible. Keep trusting me. Keep listening for my voice. Keep placing one faithful step before another. I am making a way where none seems to exist. I am opening what no one else could open. I am restoring what others believed could never be restored. I am leading you toward a future that reflects my goodness, my mercy, and my perfect purpose for your life. Walk forward with confidence, my beloved child, because the one who created the heavens and the earth is also creating a way for you, and nothing in all creation can stand against what I have lovingly prepared. My beloved child, there have been moments when you looked back over the years and quietly wondered where the time had gone. You remembered the dreams you carried when your heart was younger, the prayers you offered with great expectation, and the hopes that once filled your days with excitement. As the seasons passed, some of those dreams seemed to move farther away instead of closer. You watched opportunities come and go. You saw others reach milestones while you remained in a place of waiting. There were times when you asked yourself, have I missed my moment? Has what I hoped for been lost forever? Tonight, I want to answer those questions with the truth that comes from my heart. What was delayed is not lost. Time has never frightened me. I am not limited by calendars, clocks, or deadlines. While you count years, I see eternity. While you measure progress by visible results, I measure it by the transformation taking place within your heart. Many things that appeared delayed were actually being preserved. I was protecting them until the right season arrived. Had they come too soon, they might have become burdens instead of blessings. My timing is never careless. It is filled with wisdom that reaches beyond what you can presently understand. Think about the fruit growing on a tree. If it is picked before it has ripened, it cannot offer the sweetness it was created to give. It may look ready from a distance, but only the gardener knows the perfect moment for the harvest. My beloved child, I am the gardener of your life. I know when your heart is ready. I know when the circumstances are aligned. I know when the people connected to your future have reached the place where my purposes can unfold. What seems like delay is often my loving patience, ensuring that what I place into your hands will flourish rather than fade. There were doors you desperately wanted me to open years ago. You prayed with sincerity. You believed with all your heart. Yet those doors remained closed. At the time, you struggled to understand why. But if you look carefully now, you may already recognize that many of those closed doors protected you from paths that would not have led to lasting peace. Some opportunities were not rejected because you were unworthy. They were redirected because I had something greater waiting beyond your present vision. Do not compare your journey with the journey of another. Comparison quietly steals gratitude by convincing you that my goodness is measured by someone else's timeline. Every life unfolds according to a unique purpose. The blessings I have prepared for you cannot be measured against the blessings I have prepared for another. Just as no two flowers bloom at exactly the same moment, no two lives unfold in identical seasons. Yet each flower reveals beauty when its appointed time arrives. So it is with you. Your season has not been forgotten. It has been carefully prepared. I know there are moments when regret still tries to whisper into your thoughts. It reminds you of years that seemed unproductive. It points to opportunities you believe you missed. It encourages you to dwell on what could have been instead of embracing what still can be. But regret is a poor guide. It keeps your eyes fixed on roads that no longer need to be traveled. I am calling you to look ahead instead. The future I have prepared does not depend upon reliving yesterday. It begins with trusting me today. Remember how many times I have surprised you already. There were blessings that arrived when you had almost stopped expecting them. There were answers that came through people you never imagined meeting. There were moments of joy that entered your life quietly, without warning, reminding you that I delight in giving good gifts to my children. I have not exhausted my ability to surprise you. In fact, some of my greatest gifts are still waiting just beyond the horizon. There is also something beautiful that delay has accomplished within you. It has taught you patience where you once demanded immediate answers. It has deepened your compassion because you now understand the hearts of those who wait. It has strengthened your faith because you have learned to trust my promises even when visible evidence seemed absent. You are not the same person you were when this journey began. The waiting has shaped you into someone who is prepared to receive my blessings with humility, gratitude, and wisdom. Do not think that I have forgotten the desires I placed within your heart. I remember every dream that reflects my purpose for your life. I remember every prayer spoken through tears. I remember every promise that brought hope during your darkest nights. Nothing entrusted to my care has been misplaced. What belongs to my purpose cannot be stolen by time, destroyed by disappointment, or erased by delay. My faithfulness is greater than every fear that tries to convince you otherwise. As this unusual night continues, I want you to release every thought that says it is too late. It is not too late for healing. It is not too late for restoration. It is not too late for joy to return. It is not too late for new beginnings to rise from places you believed had become empty. I am the God who renews, restores, and redeems. I breathe fresh life into places where others see only endings. So lift your head, my beloved child. Stop counting what seems to have been delayed and begin expecting what is drawing near. The pages ahead of you are not empty because of what did not happen before. They are filled with opportunities that my hand has been preparing with perfect care. What was delayed is not lost. It has been held safely within my wisdom until the appointed time. Trust me a little longer. Walk with me a little farther. Soon you will discover that the season you thought had passed you by was simply waiting for the perfect moment to bloom, and when it does, your heart will overflow with gratitude for a timing that only I could have arranged. My beloved child, after everything we have walked through together in this night, I want to give you a gift that the world cannot create and circumstances cannot take away. I want you to receive my peace. Not the kind of peace that depends on having every answer, every problem solved, or every dream fulfilled, but the peace that remains steady even while the journey is still unfolding. This peace does not come from perfect conditions. It comes from my perfect presence. It is the quiet assurance that no matter what tomorrow holds, you will never face it without me. For so long, your heart has carried burdens that were never meant to become permanent companions. You have carried concerns about your future, your family, your finances, your health, your purpose, and the people you love. Sometimes you have carried the expectations of others until they became heavier than your own hopes. At other times, you have carried regret over yesterday while also carrying fear about tomorrow. Little by little, these burdens have tried to steal the stillness I created your heart to enjoy. But tonight, I invite you to set them all before me. You do not have to keep carrying what my love is willing to hold. Imagine a quiet lake at sunrise. Before the wind begins to blow, the water rests without disturbance, reflecting the beauty of the sky above it. That calm surface is not created by struggle. It is created by stillness. In the same way, your soul was designed to reflect my peace when it rests in my presence. But when worry becomes the wind that constantly stirs your thoughts, it becomes difficult to see clearly. Tonight, I am gently calming those waters within you. I am inviting your heart to become still again. You have spent many nights searching for peace in places where it could never fully be found. You searched for it in certainty, believing that if you could predict the future, you would finally rest. You searched for it in achievement, hoping that one more success would silence your doubts. You searched for it in the approval of others, believing that acceptance would satisfy the deepest needs of your heart. Yet every one of those things can change. They are temporary. The peace I offer is different because it flows from my unchanging nature. As long as I remain faithful, your peace has a secure foundation. My beloved child, there is a reason I have been reminding you throughout this night that I am always with you. Peace is not the absence of difficulty. Peace is the confidence that you are never abandoned in the middle of it. Storms may still arise, but they no longer have the authority to define your heart. Questions may remain unanswered for a time, but they no longer have the power to rob your hope. Delays may continue for a season, but they no longer determine your joy. My presence transforms every circumstance because where I am, fear begins to lose its voice. I know your mind sometimes races ahead, imagining everything that could go wrong. You replay conversations that have already ended. You prepare for problems that have not yet arrived. You search for solutions before the questions have even fully formed. This constant striving leaves your soul exhausted. But I have never asked you to live that way. I have called you to trust me one day at a time. The grace I provide is always sufficient for the moment you are living. Tomorrow's grace will meet you when tomorrow arrives. Think of a child who falls asleep peacefully while traveling because the child trusts the one driving the journey. The child does not stay awake trying to control the direction of the road or worrying about every turn ahead. There is rest because there is trust. My beloved child, I invite you into that same confidence. You do not have to control every detail of your future because I already hold it securely in my hands. Rest does not come from knowing every answer. It comes from knowing the one who guides every step. As you continue walking with me, you will notice that my peace begins changing the way you see life. Situations that once filled you with panic will now lead you to prayer. Delays that once discouraged you will become opportunities to trust. Challenges that once seemed impossible will remind you of the many times I have already carried you through. Peace does not remove your faith, it strengthens it. It reminds you that my promises are more dependable than your fears. Tonight, I ask you to breathe deeply and let every anxious thought slowly fade into my presence. Release the need to solve everything before morning. Release the pressure to carry everyone else's burdens. Release the fear that you must earn my favor by striving harder. You already have my love. You already have my attention. You already have my faithful care. Nothing can separate you from the compassion I continually pour over your life. The unusual thing I promised at the beginning of this journey is not only found in changing circumstances, it is also found in the transformation taking place within your heart. A peaceful heart sees differently. It hears my voice more clearly. It recognizes opportunities where fear once saw obstacles. It notices blessings that worry often overlooks. This peace is preparing you for the next chapter I have already begun writing. So receive my peace tonight, my beloved child. Let it settle over your thoughts like gentle rain upon thirsty ground. Let it quiet every fear, calm every restless question, and strengthen every place that has grown weary. Sleep with confidence, knowing that I remain awake. Rest with assurance, knowing that my plans continue unfolding even while you are still. My peace will guard your heart, guide your steps, and remain with you through every tomorrow. And as you continue this journey with me, you will discover that the greatest miracle is not only what I am changing around you, but the deep and lasting peace I am establishing within you. My beloved child, there have been moments when you questioned whether your life truly mattered. You looked at your ordinary days, your unfinished dreams, your quiet acts of faithfulness, and you wondered if they made any real difference. You compared your journey with the lives of others who seemed more successful, more gifted, or more recognized. In those moments, you quietly asked yourself if you had somehow been overlooked. But tonight I want you to hear my voice above every doubt that has ever spoken to your heart. You were never created to live a life without purpose. Long before you took your first breath, I chose you for more. When I formed you, I did not create a copy of someone else. I did not give you a borrowed purpose or an accidental place in this world. I carefully shaped every part of your life with intention. I knew the gifts I would place within you. I knew the people whose lives would one day be touched by your kindness. I knew the challenges that would strengthen your faith and the victories that would reveal my goodness. Nothing about your existence has ever been random. You are here because I desired you to be here. The world often measures greatness by applause, influence, wealth, or achievement. It celebrates those whose names are widely known and whose accomplishments are easily seen. But my kingdom sees differently. I measure greatness by love, faithfulness, humility, and obedience. A quiet act of compassion can carry more eternal value than public recognition. A gentle word spoken at the right moment can change the course of another person's life. A prayer whispered in secret can accomplish what human strength never could. Never believe that your value depends upon how many people notice you. Your value has always rested in the fact that you are my beloved child. Think of a tiny lamp placed in a dark room. It may seem small compared to the vastness of the darkness surrounding it, yet the darkness cannot overcome its light. The lamp does not compete with the darkness. It simply shines. In the same way, I have placed my light within you. You do not have to become someone else in order to fulfill my purpose. You simply need to allow my love to shine through the life I have already given you. Wherever my light is welcomed, hope begins to grow. There have been seasons when your purpose seemed hidden. You questioned whether you were making any progress because your life did not unfold according to the expectations you once held. But purpose is not always revealed through dramatic moments. Much of what I accomplish through you happens quietly. Every time you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, my purpose is being fulfilled. Every time you encourage someone who has lost hope, my purpose is moving forward. Every time you remain faithful during difficult seasons, my purpose is becoming stronger within you. Do not underestimate the importance of the small things I ask you to do. A seed appears insignificant when held in your hand, yet within it lies the potential for a mighty tree. In the same way, small acts of obedience often become the beginning of extraordinary blessings. You may not immediately see the impact of your kindness, your prayers, your patience, or your faithfulness, but I see every one of them, and I know how they will grow in ways you cannot yet imagine. My beloved child, I also want you to release the belief that your past disqualifies you from your future. There are times when regret tries to convince you that your mistakes have permanently limited what I can accomplish through your life. But my grace has always been greater than your failures. I do not choose people because they are perfect. I transform willing hearts into vessels of my love. The chapters you once wished could be erased are becoming testimonies of my mercy. Others will one day find courage because they see what I have done in your life. There are people waiting to encounter the hope that I have placed within you. Some will never hear your name beyond a brief conversation, yet the kindness you show them will remain in their hearts for years. Some will watch how you respond during difficult moments and discover faith because of your example. Others will find healing simply because you listened with compassion when no one else would. Never believe that your influence is measured only by what you can see. The seeds you plant today may bloom in ways that only eternity will fully reveal. Do not be afraid if your calling looks different from someone else's. I have never asked you to imitate another person's journey. I have invited you to walk faithfully in the path I have prepared for you. Comparison only distracts you from the beautiful work I am already doing in your own life. Keep your eyes upon me, and you will never need to wonder whether you are enough. I am the one who equips those I call. I do not ask for perfection before I work through you. I simply ask for a willing heart. As this unusual night continues, I want you to lift your head with renewed confidence. Stop speaking to yourself as though you are forgotten or insignificant. Those words have never come from me. Instead, remember who you are. You are chosen. You are deeply loved. You are guided by my hand. You are being prepared for works of kindness, compassion, courage, and faith that will bless more lives than you can presently imagine. My beloved child, walk into tomorrow knowing that your life carries purpose far beyond what your eyes can presently see. Every step you take with me has meaning. Every season has value. Every challenge has been shaping you for something greater. You were never created merely to exist. You were created to reflect my love, reveal my goodness, and bring hope wherever I lead you. Trust the path before you, because I have chosen you for more, and the beautiful purpose I placed within you is only beginning to unfold. My beloved child, if there is one truth I desire to settle forever within your heart, it is this: my love for you has never changed. It has not grown weaker because of your failures, nor has it become stronger because of your successes. It has never depended on how perfectly you walked, how faithfully you prayed, or how many times you believed without doubt. My love has always flowed from who I am, not from what you have done. Before you ever spoke my name, I already knew yours. Before you searched for me, I was already searching for you with the tenderness of a father whose heart has always been turned toward his child. There have been seasons when you questioned whether I still loved you. Hardship entered your life, and you wondered if I had become distant. A prayer remained unanswered, and you questioned whether my affection had somehow faded. You made mistakes that filled your heart with regret, and shame whispered that I must surely be disappointed beyond forgiveness. But those whispers never came from me. My beloved child, my love is not as fragile as human affection. It does not disappear when life becomes difficult. It does not turn away when you stumble. It remains steady through every valley, every storm, every victory, and every failure. Think of the sun hidden behind thick clouds. On certain days, the sky becomes so dark that it seems as though the sun has disappeared completely. Yet even then, the sun has not moved. It continues shining with the same strength, though the clouds temporarily conceal its light. In the same way, there were moments when the clouds of fear, grief, disappointment, or uncertainty made it difficult for you to feel my love. But my love never left you. It remained constant, quietly surrounding you even when your heart struggled to recognize it. I have watched you carry burdens you believe you had to bear alone. I have seen you criticize yourself with words I would never speak over you. You have called yourself unworthy when I called you beloved. You have labeled yourself broken when I called you redeemed. You have focused on your imperfections while I continued seeing the beautiful work I was accomplishing within you. My beloved child, stop measuring yourself by the voice of condemnation. Measure yourself by the voice of the one who created you and has never stopped calling you his own. The world often teaches that love must be earned. It tells you that acceptance depends upon performance, appearance, achievement, or approval. Many people have experienced relationships where affection was conditional, where kindness disappeared after disappointment, or where acceptance depended upon meeting impossible expectations. Those experiences may have shaped the way you expect others to love you, but they do not define the way I love you. My love does not begin where your perfection begins. It begins where my heart has always been, completely devoted to your good. Do you remember the many times you turned back toward me after wandering through seasons of confusion? I never greeted you with rejection. I welcomed you with open arms. Every sincere prayer was heard. Every honest cry reached my heart. Every step you took toward me was met by my grace moving toward you. That has always been my way. I do not stand far away waiting for you to become worthy. I draw near because my love is what transforms your heart. There were days when you believed you had disappointed me beyond repair. You thought your failures had written the final chapter of your story. Yet while you focused on what had gone wrong, I was already preparing restoration. I was reminding you that mercy is new every morning. I was gently lifting your eyes away from regret and toward hope. I have never delighted in reminding you of forgiven mistakes. I delight in leading you into the freedom that forgiveness brings. My beloved child, my love is not passive. It is active every single day of your life. It is present when I protect you from dangers you never see. It is present when I close doors that would have led you into sorrow. It is present when I strengthen you through trials, comfort you during grief, and provide for you in ways you may not even recognize. There are countless expressions of my love surrounding you that have quietly become part of your everyday life. The breath in your lungs, the strength to rise each morning, the unexpected encouragement that arrives at the right moment, the peace that gently settles over your heart when you pray. These are all reminders that my love continues working without ceasing. As you continue walking with me, I want you to let my love become the foundation upon which every other part of your life is built. Let it shape the way you see yourself. Let it influence the way you treat others. Let it become stronger than every fear, every doubt, and every memory that tells you that you are alone. When you know you are deeply loved, you no longer have to strive endlessly for acceptance. You begin living from a place of peace instead of insecurity. The unusual thing I promised at the beginning of this night is drawing closer with every passing moment, and one of its greatest gifts is this renewed understanding of my heart. I do not want you merely to believe that I exist. I want you to rest in the certainty that you are loved beyond measure. The truth will give you courage when challenges arise. It will give you hope when the future seems uncertain. It will give you strength when your own strength feels small. So tonight, my beloved child, release every lie that says my love has changed. It never has. It never will. I have loved you through every season, every question, every victory, and every tear. I will continue loving you through every tomorrow that awaits you. Rest in that love. Lie from that love. Walk confidently because of that love. And as you continue forward, you will discover that the greatest security your heart can ever know is the unchanging love of your Heavenly Father. a love that has held you from the beginning and will never let you go. My beloved child, there are blessings surrounding your life that you have not yet fully recognized. They have been present all along, quietly waiting for the moment when your heart would become still enough to see them. Tonight, I am gently opening your eyes, not merely to the things around you, but to the deeper reality of my presence, my faithfulness, and my purpose that has been woven through every chapter of your journey. I want you to see beyond appearances. I want you to see with the eyes of faith. For so long, your attention has often been drawn toward what is missing. You have noticed the unanswered prayers before the answered ones. You have counted the doors that remained closed more carefully than the doors I opened. You have remembered the disappointments more vividly than the quiet miracles that carried you through them. This is not because your heart is ungrateful. It is because pain naturally demands attention. Yet tonight I am inviting you to lift your gaze higher. There is far more happening in your life than your fears have allowed you to notice. Think of a traveler walking through a dense forest before sunrise. In the dim light, every shadow seems larger than it truly is. The path appears uncertain, and the trees seem to stand as obstacles. But as the morning sun rises, everything changes. The same path that once appeared frightening becomes clear. The same trees that seemed threatening reveal their beauty. Nothing about the forest has changed. Only the light has. My beloved child, I am bringing my light into places where fear once distorted your vision. As my light increases, you will begin to see your life differently. I want you to recognize how many times I have already carried you through situations that once seemed impossible. There were moments when you believed you would never recover from heartbreak, yet I restored your hope. There were seasons when you thought your strength had completely disappeared, yet I quietly renewed you day by day. There were nights when you believed you had reached the end of your journey, yet here you are, still walking with me. These were not accidents. They were expressions of my faithfulness. Sometimes you have asked me for more while overlooking what I have already placed into your hands. Gratitude does not prevent you from hoping for greater things. Instead, gratitude prepares your heart to recognize them. A thankful heart sees opportunities where a fearful heart sees only limitations. A thankful heart notices my fingerprints in ordinary moments. It understands that every breath, every sunrise, every kind word, every quiet answer to prayer is evidence that I continue caring for my beloved children. I also want to open your eyes to the gifts I have placed within you. Too often, you have measured yourself against others and concluded that your own gifts were too small to matter. You admired strengths you saw in someone else while overlooking the quiet beauty of what I placed inside you. But I did not make a mistake when I created you. The compassion in your heart, the patience you have developed, the wisdom born through your trials, the kindness you offer without seeking recognition, these are treasures that my spirit has been cultivating within you. Do not dismiss them simply because they do not resemble someone else's gifts. There are also people in your life whom I want you to see differently. Some have been sent to encourage you, though you may have underestimated their importance. Others have challenged you, and through those challenges I have strengthened your character. Even difficult relationships have taught you lessons about forgiveness, humility, patience, and grace. This does not mean every painful experience was my desire, but it does mean I have refused to waste any part of your journey. I have been working through every season, shaping your heart into one that reflects my love more completely. My beloved child, I want to open your eyes to something even greater. I want you to see yourself the way I see you. I do not look first at your weaknesses. I see the person you are becoming. I do not define you by your worst day. I define you by my purpose for your life. I do not see someone abandoned, forgotten, or unworthy. I see my beloved child, growing stronger, wiser, and more deeply rooted in my love with every passing season. When your vision changes, your future begins to look different as well. Problems that once seemed overwhelming become opportunities to trust me more deeply. Delays become reminders that my timing is perfect. Closed doors become signs that I am protecting you from paths that cannot fulfill my purpose. Every circumstance begins to carry a new meaning because you are no longer seeing through the lens of fear. You are seeing through the light of my truth. As this unusual night continues, I ask you to pray for eyes that recognize my presence in every season. When joy comes, see my goodness. When challenges arise, see my faithfulness. When waiting continues, see my preparation. When blessings arrive, see my generosity. Let every part of your journey become another reason to trust me more completely. My beloved child, I am opening your eyes so that you may walk into the days ahead with renewed confidence. You are not surrounded by emptiness. You are surrounded by my grace. You are not walking through life without direction. You are being led by my loving hand. You are not facing the future without hope. You are stepping into a season already prepared by my wisdom. The more clearly you see me, the less power fear will have over your heart. So lift your eyes today. Look beyond what is immediately visible. Look beyond temporary circumstances. Look beyond the doubts that have tried to cloud your vision. See my faithfulness. See my love. See my promises. And as your spiritual vision becomes clearer, you will discover that I have been walking beside you every moment of this journey, guiding you toward blessings that were always closer than you realized. My beloved child, there comes a moment in every journey when you must decide whether you will continue carrying yesterday or step fully into the new day I have prepared for you. I know how difficult that choice can feel. Memories have a way of reaching into the present. Regrets try to convince you that they still have authority over your future. Old disappointments whisper that they will happen again. Wounds from past seasons quietly influence the way you expect tomorrow to unfold. But tonight I am calling you into freedom. Leave yesterday behind. Not because your past has no value, but because it no longer has the right to determine where I am leading you. There are moments from your past that you revisit again and again. You replay conversations that cannot be changed. You remember opportunities you believe you missed. You think about the people who hurt you or the words that wounded your heart. Sometimes you even relive your own mistakes, wondering how life might have been different if only you had chosen another path. My beloved child, I understand why those memories remain vivid. Pain often leaves deep impressions upon the heart. But I never intended for those memories to become chains that keep you from embracing the future I have lovingly prepared. Think of a traveler carrying a heavy suitcase filled with stones. Every step becomes slower. Every mile becomes more exhausting. The road itself is not impossible, but the unnecessary weight makes the journey far more difficult than it was ever meant to be. Now imagine the traveler finally setting the suitcase down. The road has not changed, but everything feels lighter. Hope returns. Strength returns. Joy begins to return. My beloved child, many of the burdens you still carry are not meant to accompany you into your next season. It is time to lay them down. I do not ask you to pretend that painful things never happened. I do not ask you to erase your memories or deny your experiences. Instead, I ask you to place those memories into my hands so that they no longer control your heart. There is a great difference between remembering something and living under its influence. The past can become a teacher without becoming your master. It can offer wisdom without stealing your peace. It can remind you of my faithfulness instead of constantly reminding you of your pain. There are people you still need to forgive, not because they earned your forgiveness, but because I desire your heart to be free. And forgiveness quietly keeps old wounds alive. It ties your emotions to moments I have already invited you to release. Forgiveness does not say that what happened was acceptable. It simply declares that you trust me to bring justice in my perfect way and my perfect time. When you forgive, you are not setting someone else's soul free. You are allowing your own heart to breathe again. There are also places where you need to forgive yourself. You have carried guilt over decisions that I have already covered with my mercy. You have continued punishing yourself long after I extended my grace. My beloved child, do not hold yourself captive in a prison whose door I have already opened. If I have forgiven you, why do you continue speaking words of condemnation over your own life? My mercy was never meant to be admired from a distance. It was meant to be received with humility and gratitude. Do not let nostalgia deceive you either. Sometimes you long for the past not because it was better, but because it was familiar. Familiarity can feel comfortable even when it was painful. But I am not calling you backward. I am calling you forward. The future I have prepared cannot be fully embraced while your heart remains anchored in yesterday. You cannot receive new wine while clinging to an empty cup from another season. I have fresh joy to give you. I have renewed purpose waiting for you. I have unexpected blessings already moving toward your life. Remember the dawn we have spoken about throughout this journey. Every morning, the sun rises without carrying the darkness of the previous night. The light does not struggle with yesterday's shadows. It simply fills the sky with new brightness. In the same way, I invite you to receive each new day as a gift rather than a continuation of old fears. My mercies are new every morning because I desire your heart to experience the freshness of my love every single day. My beloved child, the unusual thing I promised is now closer than ever. But if your hands remain tightly wrapped around yesterday's burdens, it will become difficult to receive what I am placing before you today. Open your hands. Release the regrets. Release the bitterness. Release the fear that history must always repeat itself. The God who walked with you through your past is also preparing your future, and my power is not limited by what has already happened. Lift your eyes from the road behind you and look toward the path ahead. Every lesson you needed has already been gathered. Every tear has already been collected. Every wound has already begun healing. Now it is time to walk forward with renewed hope. Trust that I am not leading you back into old disappointments. I am leading you into new beginnings. So tonight, my beloved child, leave yesterday behind. Let it become a testimony instead of a prison. Let it become a reminder of how far my grace has carried you instead of a reason to fear what lies ahead. Walk into tomorrow with confidence, knowing that your future is not being written by yesterday's failures, but by my everlasting love. The best chapters of your story have not been left behind. They are waiting just ahead, and I am already there, ready to welcome you into everything I have prepared from the very beginning. My beloved child, when I first spoke to your heart at the beginning of this night, I told you that something unusual was coming. You may have imagined that it would arrive like a sudden flash across the sky or a dramatic moment that would leave no room for doubt. But my ways are often quieter than human expectations. The unusual has already begun. It has been unfolding while we have walked together through every word I have spoken into your heart. The greatest miracles often begin long before they become visible. They begin with a transformed heart, a renewed mind, and a spirit that has learned to trust me more deeply than before. Look at yourself for a moment. You are not the same person who began this journey. Perhaps your circumstances have not completely changed yet, but something within you has. The fear that once held such a strong grip is beginning to loosen. The hopelessness that once clouded your vision is giving way to expectation. The burden you carried so heavily has become lighter because you have placed it into my hands. These are not small changes. They are the first signs that my promises are taking root within your life. Think about the arrival of spring after a long winter. The first sign is not always a field filled with flowers. It may be a single green shoot pushing through frozen ground. It may be the quiet song of a bird returning after months of silence. It may be the gentle warmth of sunlight lingering a little longer each day. To someone who is not paying attention, these signs may seem insignificant. But to the one who understands the seasons, they announce that winter is losing its hold. My beloved child, the changes happening within you are like those first signs of spring. They may seem small today, but they are announcing that a new season has already begun. Do not become discouraged because everything has not happened at once. My greatest works often unfold step by step. A mighty oak does not appear overnight. A river does not carve a valley in a single day. Dawn does not flood the earth with light in one instant. It comes gradually, replacing darkness with increasing brightness until the whole landscape is transformed. In the same way, I am bringing my light into every area of your life. The process has already started, and nothing will stop what I have begun. You may still encounter moments when old fears attempt to return. You may still hear familiar voices of doubt whispering that nothing has truly changed. But do not believe those voices. Growth does not mean you will never face another challenge. Growth means that when challenges come, you no longer face them as the person you once were. You face them with deeper faith, greater wisdom, stronger peace, and a clearer understanding of my love. The battle may look familiar, but you are no longer the same warrior who entered it before. My beloved child, I have been preparing your heart for this very season. Every lesson, every delay, every closed door, every tear, every answered prayer, and even every unanswered question has been shaping you for what lies ahead. Nothing has been wasted. The pieces that once seemed scattered are beginning to fit together according to my perfect design. Soon you will look back and realize that what appeared to be random moments were actually part of a beautiful pattern woven together by my hands. I also want you to begin expecting my goodness in ordinary moments. Do not wait only for extraordinary signs before acknowledging my presence. Notice the unexpected peace that enters your heart. Notice the strength that carries you through another day. Notice the conversations that encourage your spirit at just the right time. Notice the doors that quietly begin to open where none existed before. These are not coincidences. These are gentle reminders that I am actively working in your life. Sometimes my greatest miracles are hidden inside simple moments. A kind word changes someone's future. A single prayer redirects a life. One act of forgiveness heals years of pain. One decision to trust me instead of fear opens the door to blessings that ripple through generations. Never underestimate what I can accomplish through one surrendered heart. Your obedience in the smallest things prepares you for greater things than you can presently imagine. As this unusual night continues, I ask you to remain watchful, not with anxiety, but with joyful expectation. Expect my goodness. Expect my guidance. Expect my provision. Expect opportunities that you could not have arranged on your own. Expect peace where fear once ruled. Expect healing where pain once remained. Expect hope to continue rising within your heart. Not because life will suddenly become free from every challenge, but because my presence will become more evident than every challenge you face. Remember that I am always faithful to complete what I begin. I do not abandon the work of my hands. I do not start restoring a heart only to leave it unfinished. I do not awaken hope only to allow it to fade without purpose. The work I have begun in you will continue unfolding day after day, season after season, according to my perfect wisdom. Even when you cannot see every detail, my hand remains steady. So rejoice, my beloved child, not only for what is still to come, but also for what has already begun. Celebrate the quiet victories that no one else may notice. Treasure the peace that has replaced worry. Give thanks for the courage that has replaced fear. Honor the faith that has grown stronger through waiting. These are the first fruits of the unusual work I promised you. Walk forward with confidence now. Lift your eyes with expectation. Open your heart even wider to my presence. The unusual is no longer something waiting in the distance. It is already unfolding within you and around you. And as each new day reveals another piece of my perfect plan, you will discover that the greatest miracle was never only about changing your circumstances. It was about transforming your heart so completely that you could recognize my love, my faithfulness, and my purpose in every step of the journey ahead. My beloved child, now that you have seen how I have carried you through every season, I want you to take your next steps differently than you have before. I do not want you to walk with your eyes fixed on every possible danger. I do not want you to measure every tomorrow by the disappointments of yesterday. I want you to walk without fear. Not because the world has suddenly become free of challenges, but because you have come to know the one who walks beside you through every challenge. Courage is not found in the absence of uncertainty. It is found in the certainty of my presence. There was a time when fear often made your decisions before faith had the chance to speak. You hesitated because you remembered what had once been wrong. You held back because you worried about what others might think. You delayed because you imagined every possible outcome except the one where my hand moved powerfully on your behalf. Fear became a storyteller, filling your mind with endings that had never happened. Yet how many of those fearful stories ever became reality? How many nights did you lose sleep over troubles that never arrived? Fear promised to protect you, but instead it quietly stole your peace. My beloved child, fear has always tried to make you forget who I am. It magnifies the size of the obstacle while shrinking your memory of my faithfulness. It points your attention toward the storm instead of the one who commands the wind. But tonight I remind you once again of everything we have walked through together. Have I not sustained you through every difficult season? Have I not comforted you when your heart was broken? Have I not opened doors you never expected and strengthened you when your own strength was gone? The same hand that held you yesterday will hold you tomorrow. Think of a child learning to cross a narrow bridge while holding a loving father's hand. The bridge may appear frightening at first. The child notices the height, the distance, and the uncertainty of each step. But as long as the father's hand remains firmly wrapped around the child's, confidence begins to replace fear. The child does not cross because the bridge is no longer challenging. The child crosses because trust has become stronger than fear. My beloved child, you are holding my hand even now. The path ahead may still require faith, but you do not walk it alone. There will always be voices trying to convince you that you are not ready, not capable, or not worthy of the future I have prepared. Some of those voices may come from your past. Others may come from the opinions of people who cannot see what I see within you. Some may even rise from your own thoughts during moments of uncertainty. But I ask you to measure every voice against mine. If a voice fills you with hopelessness, condemnation, or despair, it does not reflect my heart toward you. My voice always leads you toward truth, peace, courage, and hope. Do not wait until fear completely disappears before taking the next step. Courage is often born while your heart is still trembling. Every time you choose to trust me instead of your fears, your faith grows stronger. Every act of obedience weakens the grip that fear once held over your life. Soon you will discover that what once seemed impossible has become a testimony of my power working through your willingness to believe. Remember the path we have traveled together throughout this night. You began by wondering if something unusual was truly coming. Along the way, I reminded you that you were never alone. I showed you that your battles had purpose, that your waiting was not wasted, that your tears were precious to me, and that my love has never changed. I opened your eyes to blessings you had overlooked and invited you to leave yesterday behind. Every one of those moments has been preparing you for this invitation, to walk forward without fear because you now know who is leading you. Do not mistake caution for fear. Wisdom is a gift I gladly give, but fear is a burden I never intended you to carry. Wisdom listens to my voice and moves according to my timing. Fear refuses to move at all because it imagines disaster at every turn. Wisdom keeps your heart open. Fear closes it. Wisdom trusts my guidance. Fear trusts only its own limited understanding. Choose wisdom. Choose faith. Choose the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your Father walks beside you. As you continue into the days ahead, there will be moments when uncertainty returns. When that happens, do not focus on the size of the unknown. Instead, remember the greatness of the one who has already gone before you. I am already present in every tomorrow you have yet to experience. I am already preparing the conversations, opportunities, and blessings that will unfold at the proper time. Nothing about your future catches me by surprise. My beloved child, I also want you to become a source of courage for others. There are people who will notice the peace with which you now walk. They will wonder how you remain steady when life becomes difficult. They will see hope where they expected fear. They will hear gentleness where they expected anxiety. Your confidence will quietly point them toward me. The courage I am building within you is not only for your own journey. It will become a light that helps others find their way through darkness. So take the next step. Then take another. Do not allow fear to keep you standing at the edge of the future I have prepared. Walk with confidence, not because you know every detail of the road ahead, but because you know the one who walks every step with you. My hand will never let go of yours. My love will never fail you. My promises will never return empty. And as you continue walking without fear, you will discover that every step of faith brings you closer to the beautiful fulfillment of everything I have spoken over your life since the very beginning of this extraordinary night. My beloved child, as this night gently moves toward its conclusion, I want to place a fresh expectation within your heart. Do not wake tomorrow believing that you are stepping into another copy of yesterday. Do not allow the disappointments you have known to write the story of the day that has not yet begun. Tomorrow will not look like yesterday because you are no longer the same person who entered this night. I have been speaking to your heart, strengthening your spirit, renewing your hope, and reminding you that my hand has never left your life. The dawn that is approaching carries more than another sunrise. It carries fresh mercy, renewed purpose, and new opportunities that my love has already prepared. There was a time when every new morning felt like a continuation of the same struggle. You woke with familiar worries already waiting for you. Your thoughts quickly returned to unanswered questions, unfinished responsibilities, and burdens that seemed too heavy to carry. Before your feet even touched the ground, your heart sometimes felt weary. But I never intended for you to greet each new day through the lens of yesterday's pain. Every morning I give you is an invitation to begin again, trusting that my faithfulness has been renewed just as surely as the light fills the sky. Think of the horizon before the first rays of the sun appear. The landscape looks almost unchanged from the darkness that came before it. Yet slowly, almost unnoticed, light begins to spread across the heavens. The colors shift. Shadows retreat. What was hidden becomes visible. The world itself has not been recreated, but everything appears different because the light has arrived. My beloved child, this is what my presence does within your life. I bring light that changes the way you see everything around you. The challenges may still exist, but they no longer have the final word. My promises now become brighter than your fears. Do not assume that because certain battles lasted a long time, they will continue forever. Seasons change according to my wisdom. Winter does not ask permission before giving way to spring. Night does not negotiate with the dawn before surrendering to the morning. In the same way, the season of waiting you have walked through is not permanent. I have appointed a time for renewal, a time for restoration, and a time for fulfillment. Trust that I know exactly when each season should begin and when it should end. You may still carry questions into tomorrow, and that is all right. Faith does not require every mystery to be solved before it can move forward. Faith simply chooses to believe that I remain good, even while understanding continues to unfold. There will be answers you receive quickly, and others that will become clear only after time has passed. Do not become discouraged by what you do not yet know. Instead, rejoice in what you already know. You know that I am faithful. You know that I have carried you through every difficult chapter. You know that my love has never changed. Those truths are enough to guide your next step. My beloved child, I want you to stop expecting failure before you have even begun. Too often, fear has tried to convince you that every opportunity will end in disappointment because something similar happened before. But I did not call you to live by the memory of past defeats. I called you to live by the certainty of my promises. Your past experiences may have taught you valuable lessons, but they do not have the authority to define your future. I alone hold that authority, and I am telling you that hope has not expired. There are blessings already moving toward you that you cannot yet see. There are conversations waiting to happen that will encourage your spirit. There are opportunities quietly drawing near that will remind you of my perfect timing. There are moments of unexpected joy that I have lovingly prepared to strengthen your heart. If I revealed everything at once, you would be overwhelmed by my goodness. So I reveal my gifts one day at a time, allowing your faith to grow as my faithfulness becomes more evident with each passing season. I also want you to remember that tomorrow is not only about receiving blessings. It is also about becoming a blessing. As I fill your heart with peace, let that peace overflow into the lives of those around you. Speak words that encourage instead of discourage. Offer kindness where others expect indifference. Extend forgiveness where bitterness once seemed easier. Carry my light into places where fear has settled. Every act of love becomes another reflection of my presence in the world. Do not rush into tomorrow with anxiety. Walk into it with quiet confidence. Begin the day by remembering that I am already there. Before you open your eyes, I am watching over you. Before you speak your first word, I know your thoughts. Before you face your first challenge, I have already prepared the grace you will need. Nothing about tomorrow is uncertain to me. Every moment rests safely within my hands. My beloved child, the unusual thing I promised has not ended with this night. It will continue unfolding with every new sunrise you experience. The hope that has been awakened within you is meant to grow stronger, not weaker. The peace I have placed in your heart is meant to remain with you, not disappear when circumstances become difficult. The faith we have nurtured together is meant to carry you through every season that still lies ahead. To welcome tomorrow with expectation instead of fear. Lift your eyes toward the light instead of looking back toward the darkness. Receive the new mercies I have prepared. Embrace the fresh opportunities I will place before you. Walk confidently, knowing that your Heavenly Father has gone before you, remains beside you, and lovingly watches over every step you take. Tomorrow will not look like yesterday, because my love is leading you into a new chapter, and the beautiful story I am writing in your life is still unfolding with every faithful step you take beside me. My beloved child, as you stand on the threshold of everything I have been preparing, there is one final posture I ask you to keep. Keep your heart open. Do not allow disappointment to close it. Do not let fear lock the doors that my love has gently opened. Do not permit past wounds to build walls around the very place where I desire to pour my peace. An open heart is fertile ground where hope can grow, faith can deepen, and my presence can be welcomed without resistance. Tonight, I am inviting you to remain open to everything I have prepared for you. Throughout your journey, there were seasons when your heart naturally became guarded. Pain taught you to be cautious. Betrayal made trust feel difficult. Delays tempted you to stop expecting good things. After enough disappointments, you quietly began protecting yourself by expecting less. You believed that if you did not hope too much, you could not be hurt too deeply. I understand why you felt that way. I saw every wound that led you to build those defenses. But my beloved child, the same walls that keep pain out can also keep joy from entering. I do not want fear to become the gatekeeper of your heart. Think of a garden after a long season without rain. The ground becomes hard and resistant. Even when fresh rain begins to fall, it takes time for the earth to soften enough to receive it. But once the soil opens again, life begins to flourish. Seeds awaken. Flowers bloom. Trees grow stronger. My beloved child, I have been gently softening the soil of your heart throughout this entire night. Every word I have spoken has been like gentle rain, preparing you to receive the new season that is now approaching. An open heart does not mean a careless heart. I am not asking you to ignore wisdom or abandon discernment. I have given you both. Instead, I am asking you to remain teachable. Remain willing to let me guide you in ways you did not expect. Be ready to receive blessings that may arrive in unfamiliar forms. Sometimes I answer prayers through people you never anticipated meeting. Sometimes I bring healing through quiet moments instead of dramatic events. Sometimes I lead you down paths that seem ordinary before revealing their extraordinary purpose. If your heart remains open, you will recognize my hand even when I move in unexpected ways. There will be moments where I ask you to forgive again, to trust again, to hope again, or to love again. Those invitations may feel risky because they remind you of places where you were once hurt. But remember this: you are no longer walking alone. You are not returning to those moments with the same understanding you once had. You are walking with me. My wisdom now accompanies your steps. My peace now guards your heart. My love now surrounds you in ways that were not fully understood before. What once frightened you no longer has the authority to define your future. I also want your heart to remain open to the people I place in your life. Some will encourage you. Some will challenge you. Some will remind you of my goodness simply through their kindness. Others may need the hope that now lives within you. Do not become so focused on your own journey that you overlook the opportunities to be my hands and my voice in someone else's life. The comfort I have poured into your heart was never meant to remain there alone. It is meant to overflow into the lives of others who are still searching for peace. My beloved child, remain open to gratitude as well. Gratitude keeps your heart sensitive to my presence. It reminds you that even the smallest blessings carry my fingerprints. A peaceful sunrise, a gentle conversation, unexpected strength for another day, a quiet answer to prayer, or a moment of laughter after a difficult season. These are all gifts flowing from my loving care. The more grateful your heart becomes, the more clearly you will recognize how faithfully I have been walking beside you all along. Do not close your heart because the future is still unfolding. Every beautiful story requires patience before the final chapter is revealed. You are still living within the story I am writing. Trust that I know how every page fits together. Trust that every unanswered question will find its place. Trust that every promise spoken over your life will unfold according to my perfect timing. An open heart is a heart that believes my goodness is always greater than its fears. There may be days ahead when uncertainty returns for a moment. When that happens, do not allow your heart to become hardened again. Return to the truths we have shared throughout this night. Remember that I have never abandoned you. Remember that I have collected your tears, strengthened your weary soul, and carried you through every storm. Remember that I have been preparing this very season long before you recognized it. Those truths will keep your heart open even when circumstances try to persuade you otherwise. The unusual thing I promised is continuing to unfold, and I want you to receive every part of it. Some blessings will arrive quickly. Others will quietly develop over time. Some answers will come exactly as you imagined. Others will surprise you with a goodness beyond your expectations. Whatever form they take, welcome them with humility, gratitude, and trust. Do not let old disappointments prevent you from embracing new mercies. So, my beloved child, guard your heart, but never close it. Protect it with wisdom, but fill it with love. Keep it anchored in my truth, yet always ready to receive the fresh work I am doing. Let your faith remain alive. Let your hope continue growing. Let your expectation rise with each new day. For the heart that remains open to me will never remain empty. I will continue filling it with peace, courage, joy, wisdom, and love until it overflows into every part of your life. And as you walk forward with an open heart, you will discover that my greatest blessings are often received by those who remain willing to welcome them with childlike trust. My beloved child, we have come to a sacred moment in this journey together. When this night began, your heart may have been carrying questions that seemed too heavy to answer. You may have arrived with fears that had quietly become familiar, burdens that had worn down your strength, or doubts that whispered your best days were behind you. But look at what I have done within you. Before a single circumstance changed around you, I began changing what was happening inside you. That has always been my way. I restore the heart so that it can recognize the blessings I have been preparing all along. Tonight you will not leave the same. You came wondering if something unusual was coming. Now you know that it has already begun. It began the moment you allowed my voice to reach the deepest places of your heart. It began when you laid your fears before me instead of carrying them alone. It began when you chose to believe that your waiting had purpose, your tears had value, and your story was still being written by my loving hands. Every truth I have spoken has become another step toward the freedom I have always desired for you. Remember where we started. I reminded you that you were never alone. I walked beside you through memories of silent battles, unanswered prayers, hidden wounds, and long seasons of waiting. I showed you that every delay carried purpose, every storm was temporary, and every tear had been collected with love. I reminded you that my love has never changed, that my peace remains available to you, and that my purpose for your life has never been abandoned. These were not merely comforting words. They were invitations to see yourself through my eyes instead of through the lens of fear. My beloved child, I want you to carry these truths into every tomorrow that awaits you. There will still be moments when challenges arise. There will still be days when answers take time. There will still be seasons that require patience. But you will no longer enter them as the person you once were. You will enter them knowing that my presence goes before you. You will remember that I make a way where none appears to exist. You will remember that what is delayed is not lost. You will remember that yesterday no longer has authority over the future I have prepared. Think of a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. The transformation happens quietly, hidden from the world. Yet once the process is complete, the butterfly cannot return to the life it once knew, and was created for something greater. My beloved child, I have been transforming your heart throughout this entire journey. Others may not immediately notice the change, but you will. The fears that once controlled your decisions will no longer have the same voice. The peace I have planted within you will begin guiding your steps. The hope that has awakened in your spirit will continue growing stronger with each new day. Do not allow the world to convince you that nothing has changed simply because everything around you is not yet caught up with what I have done inside you. The greatest victories often begin in places that cannot be seen. Roots grow before branches appear. Foundations are built before houses stand. Dawn begins before the sun fully rises. In the same way, the work I have begun within you is already preparing the visible blessings that will follow. Trust the process. Trust my timing. Trust my heart. There are people whose lives will be touched because of the transformation taking place within you. Your peace will calm anxious hearts. Your compassion will comfort those who feel forgotten. Your testimony will strengthen someone who believes they have reached the end of hope. The courage I have built within you will quietly encourage others to trust me with their own journeys. Never underestimate what I can accomplish through one heart that has been surrendered to my love. My beloved child, I ask you to keep returning to me, not only during moments of need, but also during moments of joy. Let our relationship continue growing day after day. Speak with me in the quiet morning hours. Walk with me through the ordinary moments of your day. Invite me into your decisions, your celebrations, your uncertainties, and your dreams. I do not desire to be a distant voice you hear only in difficult seasons. I desire to be your constant companion, your faithful shepherd, your loving father, and your everlasting source of peace. As this extraordinary night draws near its conclusion, I want you to release every final burden still resting upon your heart. Leave behind the fear that once followed you. Leave behind the shame I have already forgiven. Leave behind the belief that your future must resemble your past. Step forward with open hands and a trusting spirit. The path before you has been prepared with wisdom far greater than your own understanding, and every step you take with me will reveal another expression of my goodness. Tonight, you will not leave the same because my love has touched places that fear could never heal. My truth has entered places where doubt once lived. My peace has settled where anxiety once ruled. My hope has risen where discouragement once lingered. And my presence has reminded you that you have always been deeply loved, carefully guided, and faithfully protected. So go forward, my beloved child, with confidence instead of fear, with gratitude instead of regret, and with expectation instead of doubt. Walk into the days ahead knowing that the unusual work I promised has already begun and will continue unfolding according to my perfect plan. The story of your life is not ending tonight. It is entering one of its most beautiful chapters, and I will remain beside you through every page that is still to come. My beloved child, this night is drawing to its close, but my presence is not leaving you. The words you have heard are not meant to remain only in this moment. They are seeds I have planted within your heart, and they will continue growing long after this night has passed. As you rise to meet a new day, carry these truths with you. Carry the certainty that you have never been alone. Carry the assurance that every tear had been seen, every prayer had been heard, and every step of your journey had been lovingly watched over by me. When you feel uncertain, remember that I am your wisdom. When you feel weak, remember that I am your strength. When fear tries to return, remember that I am your peace. When the road ahead seems unclear, remember that I have already gone before you, preparing every step with perfect love. You do not have to understand everything in order to trust me. You only need to remember my faithfulness, for it has never failed you, and never will. My beloved child, do not measure your future by your past. Measure it by my promises. The mistakes behind you cannot cancel the purpose before you. The delays you experienced cannot erase the blessings I have prepared. The storms you survived have not weakened you. They have revealed the strength I placed within you. Every chapter of your life hath been leading you toward this deeper understanding that my love is constant, my mercy is endless, and my plans are always working for your good. As you continue walking through the days ahead, keep your heart open to my voice. Do not rush past the quiet moments where I desire to meet you. Speak with me in the morning before the world captures your attention. Invite me into your decisions, your hopes, your fears, and your celebrations. Let gratitude become the song of your heart, even before every answer arrives. A thankful heart sees my hand more clearly, and a trusty heart walks with greater confidence. I bless your mind with peace that rises above every anxious thought. I bless your heart with courage that does not shrink before uncertainty. I bless your home with my presence, your family with my loving care, your work with wisdom, and your future with hope. May your nights become restful, your mornings filled with expectation, and your days marked by the quiet confidence that comes from walking beside me. May doors open at the appointed time, may healing continue where pain once remained, and may joy grow where sorrow once lingered. I bless the dreams I have placed within you. I bless the gifts I have entrusted to your care. I bless the relationships that strengthen your spirit and gently guide away those that no longer serve my purpose. I bless the path before you with divine direction, and I surround you with my unfailing love. Wherever you go, remember that my hand is upon you. Wherever you stand, remember that my presence is with you. Whatever tomorrow brings, remember that I remain the same yesterday, today, and forever. Never forget what I have whispered to your heart throughout this journey. Something unusual truly came tonight. It was my peace replacing your fear. It was my hope awakening where discouragement once lived. It was my love reaching the hidden places of your soul. It was my truth breaking the chains of doubt. It was my presence reminding you that you are deeply loved, wonderfully known, and eternally held within my care. Now go into the days ahead with quiet confidence. Let your life become a reflection of the grace you have received. Let your words bring encouragement. Let your kindness reveal my heart. Let your faith remain steady when others lose hope. Shine with the light I have placed within you, and trust that I will continue completing the beautiful work I have begun in your life. Before this sacred time together comes to an end, I invite you to let the blessing you have received become a blessing for countless others. I tell you that every seed planted for my kingdom becomes a harvest of hope in hearts that are still searching for my voice. My word declares that those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed, and I speak that promise over every generous soul. If these words have strengthened your spirit, now let your faith take action. Through your YouTube super thanks, your channel membership, or your PayPal gift using the donation link in the video description or the QR code shown in this video, you help carry my message to people who are praying for hope in the darkness. I see every offering given with love, and I will use it to shine my light where it is needed most. I will remember every willing heart that chooses to sow into this mission of reaching souls. I speak peace over your home, favor over your work, wisdom over your decisions, and abundance over every act of faithful generosity. Let your giving become a living testimony that my light will continue reaching the nations. Rise now, sow your seed, and take your place in the harvest I am gathering. My beloved child, I am with you tonight, tomorrow, and always. Amen.